talk, yeah.
Dynamic duo.
Talk is still real. We still on the corner.
Real talk
We
corner.
gonna touch on some topics.
It's real talking, it's real talk. It's real talking, it's real talk. It's real talking, real talk. It's real talking, real talk, yeah.
Check it out. You know, in tune.
My daddy made this beat.
Yo, check it out. You know, in tune to the dynamic duo. Reese and Ira. On the corner. Real talk corner.
Real Entertainment Network.
Ira and Reese. The talk is still real. We still on the corner. We gonna touch on some topics.
SKN, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, it's real talking.
Yo. Reese. What's up?
One.
There. Vibes in. Yeah.
Like to hear that.
You know, we go.
Everything
you
cool.
Not complaining, you know. Give thanks for life.
Sometimes when I really make no sense complaining what you say yesterday because things really get too much better and some people you complain to don't really care so, you know.
Bye.
Your holy faith.
Bye. Sometimes you complain to people, not even realizing that they had some worse situation than you.
Yeah,
and it's like a
yeah.
slap in their face. Like, you complain about that? No.
Yeah.
But we here again, Monday night. And you know, Monday night is Real Talk Corner. And during Real Talk Corner, we keep real conversations. And sometimes we get to pull certain people in certain spaces. So we've had politicians, we've had vloggers, we've had doctors, you know, entertainers. Tonight, we have a huge social media personality in Obi. But we're going to get into more than Obi. Oh, 1 second. I forgot to switch over that. Here we go. Well, Reese, like I was saying, how is it? You ready?
Well, yeah, man, we have to talk over. I think this conversation is long overdue. It's been some time that we have reached out to Obi and Obi has finally decided to accept our invitation and you know, man, let's just keep Obi waiting too long, you know, because you know when Obi is in the area,
Yeah.
you know, life a little spicy and we like the spicy. So without further ado, no hold up Obi too long, man. Bring in Obi.
BBB.
The BBB himself.
Hold on, Obi. My bad. I had to mute your mic. I didn't want you to have a hot mic. You're good now.
One and only. Good to be here.
All right.
It's been a while. I think you guys asked me to be on the show like a couple years ago, you know, or something like that. But things don't happen until it's time, they say. So we're gonna bang it out tonight and see how it goes and see what people gotta say, you know, and hopefully we get into whatever you want to get into. I mean, I'm the kind of willing to go across the boundaries and over the boundaries and anywhere you want to go.
We definitely will.
Yeah, so talk to me. What you guys got in mind now?
We definitely will. Well, Obi, you're known as Obi, you know. You might have adopted that name. Who's that? You might have adopted that name sometime in life. Not sure at what point in life. So we're going to take a trip back right? We're gonna kind of find out a little bit more about the person behind Obi, if that's
All right.
okay. So we want
Yes.
to know your background a little bit. Let's get into that.
Well, why? Oh, we come from humble beginnings, you know. I mean, very humble beginnings. I mean, I guess like most people in Nevis, come from humble beginnings. Um, attended Gingerland High School, where I at first attended Bompasha Primary School when it was Bompasha Primary School. Now it's Elizabeth Pemberton Primary over on the flats. I remember my days of going to that school where we thought that school would have been rebuilt in our time. That school built like about 20 years after I graduated from that school. So you know how everything take a long time. But I left there, went to Jitan High, um, graduated in 1985 from there. Not that you guys weren't even born yet, man. From the,
That wasn't a thought.
it wasn't even a thought yet,
Yeah, it
right?
wasn't a thought.
Went to sixth form, and then after sixth form, I went into teaching for a little bit, about 3 4 years. Some of the people I taught, you wouldn't believe, is some people like Master Blue and those people. Um, Corey, I don't know if you know Corey Master Blue, musician, one of those people. Um, then I got fed up. Well, not really fed up. What I got is disenchanted with the teaching because back then you're only making $900 a month, you know. That can't pay
Wow.
nothing. Nine hundred
Wow.
dollars each month you were making back then. And I remember I remember my first time teaching. It took me 3 months before I got paid. I started teaching in September 7th and I didn't get paid until December, I think it might have been December 16th or something like that. 3 months. So things were a struggle back then, man. You know, those times that were the early 80s. I mean, no, the late 80s, 87. I started teaching. So, but then I went off to college after getting disenchanted with teaching because, of course, I wouldn't make any money. Um, and then after I got into college, I I became more in tune with myself, I must say, and more conscious orientated, um, and became more Afrocentric in my thought. You know, then is where I adopted the name Obi, which is actually um, an Igbo name from Nigeria.
Okay.
You know, considering our history and most of our people from, the west coast of Africa. So I figure that a lot of us come from like the Igbo tribe or whatever different tribes they have over there. So I picked the name Obi, means strong-hearted in Igbo. So I figured that would fit my character. So and during my college years, read a lot, did a lot of research. I even created a page, I mean, a website in, I think that would have been 1999, called the Afrocentric Experience, swagger.com. Um, you wouldn't believe I'm one of the first, you could say, first people well, on the internet who created a page, something like that, pushing the Afrocentric ideas, pushing Afrocentric thought, a lot of stuff about African history, a lot of thought about the struggles and things we went through as Black people. You know, one of my biggest regrets is to let that website fall apart. Because I ran it for about 10 years,
Wow.
from about 90 to about 2000, 2009 or so. Um, it's interesting, One of the reasons why I got complacent with it is after the election of Barack Obama. Almost like because there was a sense of like, oh, Black people have achieved, Black people have overcome some of the struggles, but that was just a figment of our imagination back then. We did nothing has changed. Things maybe in some ways have taken a turn for the worse. I wouldn't say for the worse, but things are still complicated. We're still going through a lot of the same kind of struggle, but from different in different ways, you know. So I kind of let that website slip, and you know, it was shut down by the web hosting companies. And when I tried to go back to get it, and you know, they refused to pull it back up and that kind of thing. So anyway, so basically, in a nutshell, that's where the whole concept of OB came from. Now, in came social media around those times, like, you know, 2008, 2009, you know, and everyone was making the transition to social media. You know, we more leave like the email groups and the, you know, and the website, you know, messaging boards and those kind of things. And we, 'cause, you know, before social media, they were like Yahoo messaging groups and Google and you know, and you had social media sites like High Five. I mean, you guys probably too young for those things.
Lord, man. Lord, man. Hold on,
You know,
Reese.
and those,
No.
No,
Can't be
no,
telling me
that.
that. High
High
five.
Five and Hot
High five was the
Messenger,
other day.
those kind of things.
I take it as a compliment.
Wow.
Continue.
You guys probably come in during the BB, what do they call it, the BlackBerry time,
We were
the
there.
BB thing,
We were
and those
there.
kind of things.
We were
You know,
there.
so
I don't know about coming, but we were there. We were
you were
there.
there.
I was there. I started with 95.
95?
Windows
Okay.
95 and DOS.
Oh, you okay? All right, all right. So we used to have where I developed a lot of interaction and social media debating and all those kind of things. It's basically this guy named Charles Misham had a Sink His Nevis email group that we used to do a lot of debating on politics and those kind of stuff. I think it's still around, you know, but I mean, hardly anybody ever use it anymore. Big up to somebody like Charles Misham, who, you know, he's a pioneer in the whole field of political online debates and discussion and talking about social issues and organizing online and all those kind of stuff. So I did a lot of that back then, you know, in the 90s, coming up to the, you know, like about 2008, 2009 and that kind of thing. So in a sense, that's where I develop a lot of the love for it. I love politics, right? I know we're going to get into politics later,
Yeah.
but I love, you know, as a matter of fact, in high school, I was on the debate team in Gingerland High School. I remember when Wendell Huggins, the head teacher back then, putting me on the debate team, saying, "Oh, I would be a good debater," and that kind of stuff. I resisted, but look, in hindsight, he really was right. One of my first love, you know, debating, talking, discussing issues. There's nothing I don't have an opinion on. You know, people are opinionated. I mean, whether it's politics, whether it's sports, whether it's the social issue, any kind of social issues. You know, feel like if I have something to say, and I'm gonna say it. And the thing about me, right, is that if everybody tend to have the same agreement on an issue, I tend to, for some
Play,
reason, I
play
always tend to
devil's
say,
advocate.
well, it's not more than devil's advocate. Sometimes because I I don't like groupthink.
Go against the grain, right?
Yeah, I don't like groupthink. You know, when you have a set of people thinking the same thing, I mean, there is no advancement. There's no somebody thinking outside the box. There's a reason why people like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and those kind of people exist. Those people think outside the box.
Well,
You know,
Zuckerberg stole somebody's idea, so
well, well,
we're
that
gonna
is
have
true.
to, yeah.
Still is a part of life, boy.
Just walk with that
Well,
one.
a lot of that went on. You know, this whole,
Hey, oh, Obi.
yes, go ahead.
Them boys said to tell you, don't forget the draft, boy. Them boys said the drafting.
And
Oh, I
you're
mean,
at a draft.
oh, tonight?
Yeah, boy, yeah.
You're not going to be tonight. Tell them move the draft, man. uh, but the whole concept of stealing is, I mean, the whole American concept is a stolen idea. I mean, they stole the whole thing from the Indians, right? And I mean, the
Native
native.
Americans.
Yes. So, so what I'm trying to say is that the people who excel in life and make a mark on life are the people who think outside the box. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, they didn't do the group think. They didn't do the group think, They had, they see a different vision to what the group was seeing, and they said, no, let's go this way. And they were able to convince people to come along with how they think.
But
And
do
they
you
were,
but do you think it was a case of they were doing it just to oppose and then create idea, or they actually, well, the brain started ticking, and they're a lot of the times it's not of opposition, it's more of an initial idea. You know what I mean? It's innovation. When you think about Steve Jobs, it's not
yes.
Reese has an idea, but what Reese says stupidness. Let me think in this other. Okay, what about this way? You get what I'm saying? Do you not
Yes.
think it's more of a
But
initial thought?
that's what I'm saying too. That's
Okay.
why you get away from the group think. Everybody thinking the same way. That's why Steve Jobs was able to say, okay, I want to create a computer that does this A, B, C, and D, and it's gonna function this way. Instead of okay, we're gonna stay with how IBM was doing it. At that time it was just IBM, whatever DOS, not DOS, but there was keystrokes and stuff that you had to look at on a piece of paper. He created something that was interactive, Windows based. I mean, what is his name? The guy
Bill
came along,
Gates.
Mike came
Bill
and
Gates.
stole it.
Yeah. He forced him. He
But
forced him.
so it's just people. What I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, people think outside the box, and it's the same way with a debate and discussion too. You know, you if you find yourself always agreeing with the group, it's like you're not thinking in a different direction. You're not trying to come up with a different solution. You're not trying to be innovative. So that's the way I try to approach stuff a lot of times,
Okay.
even in debates and that kind of thing. So you know, but it's not necessarily that way all the time. I'm just saying that it can be that way.
I feel you. Going against the grain
Yeah.
for a greater good is just to challenge the status quo. Coming up with
Yes.
something else, helping those minds to develop and start to thinking in different directions, because we have to have multiple thoughts, right? That's why a
Yes.
game of chess, there's so many different moves you could make,
Yes.
but you have to think in many dimensions. And
Yeah.
hopefully people realize that opinions don't align a lot of the times, but that's that's what we think. So what did you study when you went off to school?
I did. I went to UVI first in St. Thomas, but I left with the intention of studying medicine. I home saying I'm going to be a doctor, right? And I took my first biology class, and that thing was so difficult, man. I wouldn't even say how much I got on the first test. So I say, okay, no, this is not what I want to do. So, but maybe if I'd stuck it out and say he was probably the stupid professor who was just making things difficult. But then I switched to mechanical engineering. I switched to engineering, and then I had to transfer from UVI up to Florida A&M University, FAMU, where I did mechanical engineering. And then after I graduate, I did a master's in information technology management.
Okay.
So basically, that has been my background. Um, they have tried to get me to do a PhD, but nah, I said nah, I go work and make some money, man. And I didn't want to stay in academics and be a scholar and those kind of stuff and
A
teach
lot of
and those kind
work.
of. Yeah, no, not really a lot of work, but it's just that that wasn't my interest at that time. I mean, it's still not my interest. So I say, okay, I'm going to do information technology and go out into, into the private sector and get a job and, and do it and make that approach instead of staying in academic. Because usually PhD, that's where you normally stay. Not everybody, but most people stay there. Either become professors or researchers or, that kind of thing. So, so basically, in a nutshell, that's my background in education and stuff. So, and then, of course, in the world of hard knocks, you get to learn a lot of stuff too. So
Obi, I think we want to go back to your sixth farm time. Time in sixth farm. You know,
yes.
we'd have always heard that your sixth farm class was a stellar class.
Oh,
So,
you heard that?
yeah,
Well, I tend
very
to agree.
competitive.
Very competitive. Very competitive. Our sixth form class now is actually the class that is run in Nevis. If you include A and B, the sixth form was there. The premier was in sixth form with me. He was in, at one level lower than me in terms of age. He was in 6B, I was in 6A. Um, um, Everybody who runs Nevis right now, what's his name? I can't remember. I only remember. Interestingly, I'm only their nicknames coming to me right now. Scooby. What's Scooby right name? I can't remember Scooby right.
Don't worry,
He
Pemberton. Just use
yeah,
the
Pemberton.
yeah,
Remember,
just use the nicknames. Just use the nicknames.
We know
People
him,
gonna know
man.
you.
We know him.
Yeah,
Scooby. He's the PS for education. That's why he is. Wakely Daniel. Wakely Daniel, he's the PS in the Premier's Ministry. Lana Honkins, and all those people, and Hector, who was the leader of NRP, um, Colin Doe, Ernest Stapleton, Orny France, who runs TDC. All of those people, they basically run in Nevis now. So the class of 87, in sixth form class of 87, was very, I would say they were a very accomplished class and high performers, um, who have done well in life. Von Walters also, another one. I mean, we could go on and stuff. I know some of them gonna be upset because I didn't call some of their names and stuff. So I'll just stop here. But basically, we even though we were high achievers, we knew how to party. You know, um, we used to host a lot of parties back then. Um, uh, we even had a band that kind of came out of the whole six form construct and stuff.
a ban.
Um, yeah, well, I mean, he didn't go too far, but people like I don't know, you probably wouldn't know Ambrose Swanston, those people, and the same Scooby was in the band, Earl Williams, and those kind of things. Early, he lives up here now. He lives
You see that?
in yeah, and he all of those people are accomplished, running Nevis and that kind of thing. Um, Alexis was in 6B, Alexis, who is more or less the second in command in Nevis. Mark was in 6B also. So the whole class, had a lot of high achievers,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah,
So,
heard that. Heard that.
That's
And
a
of
stellar
course,
class.
you
That's a
know, we're
stellar
gonna
class.
get into some of that. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's what you want to ask.
No, no, no. Not yet. Not yet. We still focus on you. We still want to
Uh,
focus on you. We still want to focus on you for now. And we're letting the crowd Bill. So,
okay.
Bill, 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 right? So, okay, so Obi, you spend a lot of time on social media. A lot of the times, people is like, "What is his job? What is his real job? What does this man really do?" Sorry, does because
Well, I know
at the same
people.
time.
Uh, I know people always ask that question. I actually works.
Yeah,
I actually. Um, I wouldn't necessarily say what I do,
yeah,
but um, because it's It's government work. I
Okay.
would just leave, and sometimes government works come with some level of secrecy to it.
Yeah, don't say
And,
what you
and
do, please.
huh?
Don't say what you do.
No, 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 I'm not going to say. But
Yeah.
I do work, but because I work in information technology, so everything, right, is just social media, and what I do is very similar. You see what I'm saying? So it's just easy. A lot of people might think, okay, I spend a lot of time in doing it, but um, I would think about a topic after fly, right, and put put a whole post together within a minute or two. You know, bang it out real fast, right on my phone, right there, just like that. I put it up,
Trigger
and
fingers, Twitter
yeah,
fingers, Facebook
yes, I
fingers.
let it fly. A lot of time, my post wouldn't even take me a minute or two. You know, so it's not as it looks complicated. It looks like as if it's a lot of work to a lot of people who probably not doing it, but it's really not. It's not that. It's not as complicated as people may think it is. Um, Not to compare myself to Michael Michael Jordan, but just as an example, I'm sure basketball is not as complicated to him as it is to a lot of other people.
Feel
Oh,
you.
come to the young. I mean, come. Let's bring it to now. I'm sure Curry shooting threes is not as complicated to him as it would be to, let's say, me. you know,
Okay, I
because
understand the concept. Understand the
yes,
concept. Yeah,
it's very easy for him to do
I understand
because
the concept.
you know part of him, and it's easy for him to do. So he doesn't. It's not as complicated as people may think it is, um, and and a lot of times I get information from a wide array of sources. People send me stuff. I don't even have to look for anything.
Yeah,
People just send me. I mean, I just get a barrage of stuff every day. And most of the time, a lot of this stuff, 50% of this stuff I don't post because I can't post because of, you know, it could be libelous,
yeah.
calling me, that kind of, and, to me, that. So,
You can't knock out those quick because you would have to take out names and all kind of
yeah,
things, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, I could imagine you have a serious database. I would just call it a database, as it comes to people providing you
Yeah,
posts and different things that's going on around the world. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
yes.
you it's def. Go ahead.
I get information from all over. You wouldn't believe that I have people that send me stuff from Guyana. People that, because I have a huge following in Guyana. I have almost 1,000 followers in Guyana.
Okay.
Trinidad the same way. Jamaica, I have like over 500 followers from Jamaica. Um, um, Antigua, I have a big following. Dominica, I have a big following, nearly over 1,000 also. So, and different people, even the Bahamas, I have followers from there too. And people send me all kind of different information. Sometimes I can't even keep up, because sometimes, I was saying, one time I was telling a buddy of mine, man, I wish I could get like like a administrative assistant that could go through my messages and and take out what I could post from what I can post and that kind of thing, and just manage the whole thing. But so I do get a barrage of information, and plus on WhatsApp, that's also a different story too. That's also a different source. You know,
You
where
don't
I get a lot from. Yeah.
you don't think your brand is large enough for you to hire someone? Uh, you haven't.
And I haven't. You see, I've been told by many people. Many people have told me I should try to turn it into
Fan
maybe
page.
a business orientated um, thing. But to me, I still approach it almost like a hobby. you know, it's, and it has grown so much where I sometimes use it as 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 a business where I could, you know, ask people to pay for certain things and pay for certain uses and all that kind of stuff. But I most of the time I approach it as like a non-profit hobby that I use to try to help people and pass information and share information to people. Because one of the things I love
Good night.
sharing information. I love spreading knowledge. If I find something that I think that is useful and knowledgeable, which I think is not out there yet, I am happy to share it. You see, and it probably came from my teaching background because I used to teach. So I love to share information and to try to to more or less educate people. If I know something and they don't, I want to put it out there. Let them get let them get that knowledge also. So that's one of the reasons why I still do it and still approach it something like a hobby, you know. And maybe one of these days I might turn it into a business or something. I don't know. But the other day Facebook did force me. I guess because my number of followers, they kind of force. I shouldn't say they forced me. They encouraged me to make it into a kind of semi-public page. I think they have this thing now where you after you get certain followers, certain number of followers, they make you make your page, your personal page, into a public page. So that's where you set up more like a blog page now.
Okay.
So Facebook had like encouraged me to do that. So that's one of the changes that came about, you know. So now my friends are now considered followers, along with followers that couldn't be my friends. I don't know if I'm making it clear.
Yeah.
So
Does it make it harder to hit you with a strike and go to Facebook jail?
it seems so. But I'll fingers crossed. I haven't been to Facebook jail for the year as yet. So, I mean, I went and make sure I read the community
Guidelines.
and rules. And time I make a post, I say, man, am I violating anything here? You know? Am I violating anything here? Making sure that I don't violate any one of their standards, any bullying, any nudes. Well, of course, I'm not gonna post any nudes, but any curse words that they don't like. Because certain words that trigger them, a lot of people don't understand. Is words like, I don't know if I could say it here. I mean, we are not on Facebook, so if you
No, we
use
on
stuff like,
Facebook.
well,
Yeah,
The
yeah, you
page
can
is
do
on,
it. You can.
the page is on Facebook. But you could say some words, yeah. It's
some words like kill, of course. You can't say I'm gonna kill you, or you can't say I'm gonna kick you. You can't say words like I'm gonna punch you, and because words like that trigger the whatever the software
algorithm.
that,
The algorithm.
Yeah,
the
the algorithm
algorithm.
tight. The
Yeah,
algorithm real tight.
yeah. So they trigger those kind of thing, and then and according to the number of violations that you have, they would put you in jail for whatever period of time they deem that they want to do that. So everything is one from the algorithm being triggered by certain words,
Feel
you know.
you.
So people got to be careful with. And I learned that the hard way. But what a lot of times I used to get put in jail because of videos. Videos used to catch me, and sometimes it's just innocent videos, but in the video something trigger the algorithm, you know.
Yeah.
And in the past, it used to be a lot of people reporting me too, because you get put in jail when people report you. Enough people report you, they put you in jail. So it's actually a lot of that. But I think more so now, Facebook mainly depending on their algorithms to track and put people in jail instead of waiting for people to report and that kind of thing. So
Okay.
yeah,
I would say that Obi, I feel like at times some of your videos lack credit. Credit to
credits.
source.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like especially when someone take the time to come up with content, they should always get credit for that. So just keep that in mind. As a content creator yourself, would
Mhm.
want
I understand.
create as the BBB, and then as I just said, the BBB, Obi. What is the
Mhm.
BBB? What, like, where did this
What
come about?
that came over? I don't even, you know, uh, I don't even, I can't exactly what triggered that, but one day I just started calling myself the biggest, baddest blogger. And then I think it's from people saying that, oh, I am big and I'm the biggest in Sinkis Nevis or whatever, that kind of thing. So, I just take it on as a personality. And the BBB just the shortened form of saying the biggest, baddest blogger. One thing I realized, right, interestingly, um, the way you attract people on social media and even on radio and that kind of thing, you have to mix your content with humor, right? And saying I'm the BBB is more, at first, was more humor than anything else. And you have to mix it with a sense of confidence in what you're saying. If people believe you're confident in what you're saying, people would follow you. You see what I'm saying? So when I'm the biggest, baddest blogger, I mean, I'm sure there were people out there with more following than me, but I was given that sense of confidence to let you know that I'm the best, you know, and it's a way to stamp myself as having a lot of confidence to say that I'm the best. So it was more from that perspective, and was more from a humorous perspective too, and it just stopped. And another thing too, is about branding,
Yeah.
branding yourself, you know, making yourself unique in because there are thousands, millions and millions and millions of bloggers out there. There are millions of people on Facebook posting this and posting that and all kind of stuff. So you have to make yourself stand out and unique in that space, you know. Um, and also I try to another thing I try to do is to be able to vary what I post. I'm not a one track mind kind of guy, in terms of I just don't talk about politics alone. Um, I would even talk about politics and come over here and argue about basketball, you know, and tell you that um, LeBron James is not as good as Michael Jackson. I mean, Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. Then at the same space, argue and say Michael Jackson is the best entertainer ever lived, and at the same time start to talk some nigga business about who man left who, who, that kind of thing. So
Spectrums.
Well,
some
Obi,
yes, go ahead.
one of the things you know for you to study part a lot,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's one
oh
of the things. That's one of the things why people actually tune into you so much
yeah.
because, like you say, you never know what you're gonna get with Obi. And
Yes,
sometimes when you start to study part, some kind of dumping from the bottom to come to the top, and people will say, "Oh meow, what that he mean?" Yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah.
yes. You're so right about that, and that's what I'm trying to say about. That's what I meant when I say I sometimes think outside the box, are not what everybody else is thinking. I would approach something from a different angle. You know, um, I'm trying to think of an example, but even with the politics, we're gonna get into that later. But I bring it from a different approach. Instead of saying, "Oh, this politician is the best. This politician is so good. He's doing this and doing that, and he's accomplished this and he accomplished that." But then I would ask, "Wait, what about this?" Um, for example, okay, this is an example. Um, a politician may come out and say, "Oh, we paved the roads from Gingerland to Charlestown," right? Politician might come out and say, "Oh, wanting praise for that as an accomplishment," but I would come out and say, "But that is what you're supposed to do." That is not an accomplishment. That is like me paying my bill in my house, my light bill in my house. I have to pay the light bill. That is not an accomplishment to say, okay, I improved the house. You know, paving the road is one of the things that the politicians have to do and must do. Now, if you build a brand new highway, that is an accomplishment in itself.
Levels.
Not maintaining the same old road, which you're supposed to do anyway. That. So it's thinking outside of what the normal person would say. Oh, they would jump on and say, yeah, he paved the road. But really and truly, he just maintained what was there. He didn't add anything new. He didn't do anything to raise people's standard of living and make life better in the country. So
Which is what we can get into a little later, right? Because
yeah.
Also,
go ahead.
hold on, Obi. One of the things, sometimes, and everyone has done it. Sometimes we post stories, and we have to retract the information that we put out. Have you ever found it hard to apologize and say, "Hey, I was wrong"? Has that ever been something that you found hard to do?
Well, I have. I try. I'm going to answer you. I mean, I don't think I've. If I'm totally wrong about something, right? I would. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't say I'm not going to apologize, but what I would do is to update and correct my position. Okay. I try my best. I try my best to make sure I get a story straight, right? Um, I have my method of doing that. I'm not going to reveal what the method is, but I try to verify my stories before I put them out there. So usually, I could guarantee you 95, even as high as 98% of the time, when I put out something, right, is usually correct. Okay, yes, here and there, I might get something that is off a little bit, and usually is because there's a breakdown in the method that I use. I did not verify the story enough. You know, I like, for example, I might, which over the years I've learned, you get a story, you only get the story from one source, and you post it. That is very, very risky. Because that's one source could be wrong. I'll get the story
Very true.
off,
Very
right?
true.
Whenever I do that, then is where I would get into trouble. So I try not to do that. So yes, if I get the story wrong, I would either recheck it, take it all the way down, because I've done that before. Especially if I get it wrong, I would take it all the way down. Or sometimes I would update it and say, oh, here's more information. I update and say, okay, and add it to the post and that kind of thing. That's what I would normally do. Sometimes I've apologized, but if I take down the story, I don't see the need to apologize anyway. Actually, I already take it down. So, you know. And one of the things where I try to be so careful, right? Because the tiniest of mistake I make, there are people waiting to pounce.
Mm.
There are people waiting to pounce. I mean, if I get one tiny little piece of a story not so true, mine 98% of the story could be true. But if that 2% is not true, people will focus on that 2% to try to disparage the whole story. You know? So I try my best to get the story 100% true. It doesn't happen all the time.
It's impossible.
Yeah, it doesn't happen all the
It's
time. I mean,
impossible.
the big newspapers, the CNN, all of them, they always have to retract stories.
Yeah, once you
So
get one wrong, you're done past the 100. You're done gone below 100. So that
yes,
done gone. Unachievable is what it is.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's what. I'm sure you guys have experienced stuff like that. I mean, you get something, you get some information, and you say, "Whoa, that wasn't so right." I mean, what I'm saying, they probably a little bit off base, But if you come back and you correct the story and you say, "Okay, well, this is the update to the original post, or what I was saying," then I think that is fair game.
Do
You know.
you? Okay, so you're a. Wait, Reese, you had anything else? You
No,
don't
no,
wanna.
but
Okay. You're a blogger. Do you see yourself as a journalist as well? Just strictly a blogger.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Um, I I almost want to almost see myself more as a blogger, as a storyteller, but I also bring the news too. If I get information, I mean, I'm gonna put it out there. Um, I guess in a way, I'm a journalist also, but I don't want to put myself in that category. I
Okay.
think I approach it in a different way. Like for example, for me, it's all about communication. Blogging is about communication, right? When I say communication, being able to talk to somebody who has a PhD and as well as somebody who is just a regular guy on the street who probably dropped out of high school, you know? Um, and you should be able to put out that message in such a way that both people could understand what you're talking about. Okay? For example, the police might put out a press release and say, oh, there was a grand larceny on 4th Street in with a suspect who ran away, and the police is now chasing after them or something like that, whatever it is, right? I would take the story and say, um, by John get caught get caught stealing $100 of the police up 4th Street, and police are running him down. You see, no, the regular man on the street know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? Whereas that regular man on the street, what are you talking about? Larceny? What is larceny? Yeah, that kind of thing. You
yeah, you're
speak in
right.
a
You're
way
right.
people could
You're
understand what
right.
you're talking about. You see, you speak in a language that is simple, direct, and right to the point, not full with fluff, not sounding like you in a classroom, and you have to keep things in a formal kind of way. You know, so right away people will understand what I'm saying. Whereas, you know, a regular man would probably try to read that police press release and don't even know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? So that is what I'm talking about. Blogging is about communication and being able to get your message out to different groups of people, no matter those people, and no matter those people skill, no matter those people reading skill, and no matter, well, of course you got to be able to learn to read a little bit to
Yeah.
be a social. But you understand what I'm saying? The levels of skills does not, stop somebody from getting that information.
Understanding. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I would have asked that because sometimes even us, I feel like people would hold us to a journalist standard, and I think it's unfair to journalists, and it's
Yes.
definitely unfair to us because we're
Yes.
not at that level, right? And
Yes.
I know people probably would use terms like responsible journalism when you make a post, and that brings up my next question. For instance, sometimes there are shocking news, and let's say a death, like a death. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Do you feel like in trying to be first in posting like an accident that may have happened and a young man may lose his life, you may cause shock to a family
Yeah.
member who may have not heard the story yet? You have a broad reach. Imagine scrolling through Facebook, you haven't heard the story yet, but you pass OB's page and you see, oh my gosh, is this true? You start calling everybody. Do you give a time, a space? Is it just instant for you?
Um. Okay. Okay. Let me go through my steps really. Let's say I get something on WhatsApp. Somebody say, "Oh, there was a big accident and somebody died." Right. The first thing I do, I try to verify that is true. Okay. And if I verify that is true by using the different methods that I use, I would then post the story. But one thing that I've learned over the years is to leave out names.
Okay.
Names have got me into trouble. Get people really, and like what you're talking about, that talk. For example, let's say I post that John got killed over bat in an accident, right? His brother probably didn't know, so he seen his brother's name on my page would be shocking to him, and I do understand that. So what I do, instead of saying John, I would say a young man was killed in Overbath in a
Okay.
shocking, to avoid that kind of same shock value that you're talking about. And but at the same time, I still bring out the news. I still bring out the information to the people.
Got you.
You know, so that's one of the because that's something I learned over the years, eh? And another thing I don't do, I try not to post people pictures, the same way, pertaining to that because you don't want to shock people into seeing their family member um, picture
Like
and
that.
then, you know what I mean? So that's one of the things. You
Um,
were going
but Obi, one of the things is that we know that you have reach, right? I have
to.
actually heard people say that if Obi no post it, you know, real.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I have heard I have heard people say they will hear accident happen and they okay, let me see if Obi post it.
Or we post
And
it,
then
yeah.
Obi post it, well, okay, I got confirmation. It look like it's true for true. So
Yes,
when
yes,
you hear things like that, what is your way of thinking? What do you think about stuff like that?
man. To me, right, that make me feel a sense of accomplishment. To know that people trust me enough that they want the confirmation from me first or from my page first before they could believe a story. And that came over the years of being able to try to get the story correct at all times or as many times as possible. And so people develop a trust into what I'm saying, you know? So and that comes from just years of doing it and people trusting you and trusting what you're saying, you know? So when I do hear people say stuff like that, it makes me feel a sense, it makes me feel satisfied. It makes me feel like, okay, I am doing a service for the people.
Yeah.
People appreciate it and the people loved it and the people are satisfied with it. So, so I mean, I've heard that many times. Eh? I really heard that many times. Like, for example, when there's a story going around or something happened, people would message me and ask me, I ain't see you post this. Is it true? And and maybe I heard the story and just can't verify that the story is true as yet. So I would hold off, wait for verification or whatever. And I might message them and say, "Oh, that story is not true. I don't have nobody's. There's no other source giving me the story." And or I would say, "Okay, part of the story is true, but the other part is not true." So you got to be able to verify things and make sure that people have some sense of confidence in what you're telling them. You know, so that's and I believe it just comes from years of posting and people learning that what I am saying is probably true. At least 98% of the time. you know?
Feel you.
No, hold on there. I mean,
Oh yeah, you go.
one of the things that I ever asked about was, do you consider yourself a journalist? You consider yourself a blogger. But there's another side that I've noticed that you're an influencer.
Yes.
That you have a way of shifting the tide sometimes. How did you get into that part of it? How did you navigate that arena where you could now say certain things and change people's mind?
Well, I think it ties back to what we were just talking about. The, having people having confidence in what you're telling them, and believing in what you're telling them and trusting in what you're telling them. So if I put a certain piece of information out there, people would say, boy, oh, we're supposed to know what he's talking about, at least always supposed to have an idea of what he's talking about. So I would go along with what he's saying, at least to some extent, believe what he's saying and trust in what he's saying. It doesn't happen all the time, right? And I mean, shifting people's opinions sometimes um, in itself could backfire sometimes too, because for every action there's a reaction. You know, you will get people coming after you because you're trying to put up the particular position out there. The people who oppose that position would come after you to try to shift the people back to their thinking. You know, so it's a push and pull sometimes. But to answer your question, yes, I think it came from years of building up that trust with people and people believe in what I post most of the time and trusting what I post. So of course I would be able to influence certain ideas or certain uh, yeah, I guess certain ideas in certain directions, a certain position in certain directions. It doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna stick with that. So do you see the BBB as, is it for influence, personal? You said it's not really so much business, but what is the true purpose? Sorry, purpose of the BBB? What is the true purpose of the BBB right now?
it's really for information, sharing information. That's my main purpose for it.
Just to get things
I
out there.
Sharing information. It's just, I mean, I think deep down I should be a teacher, but teaching don't pay. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not a teacher. So, but I love sharing knowledge, educating people, giving people information. I mean, it doesn't have to be something. It doesn't have to be deep. Something from some deep perspective about some mathematical analysis or some physics theory or some physics formula or anything like that. It could just be. It could just be um a dog get 20 puppies in Nevis, which is a record. Something like that. You know, just sharing information to people and making people be aware of certain things. You know? So that's the main purpose of what I do. You know, sharing, educating, interacting with people, talking to people, making people become aware of certain things, certain standpoints, certain issues. Um, but I always try to approach it from a position of, as I say, make sure I communicate what I'm saying across in such a way that everybody could understand what I'm talking about.
Got you.
You would hardly see me write like a long dissertation about something with some scholastic big words in there and all.
That don't work.
I don't do that. That doesn't work on social media, and a lot of people it doesn't because people people have a short I shouldn't say a short attention span.
No, you're accurate.
It's a
so
short
much.
attention span.
You're accurate.
It's a
I
short
just
attention span.
Yeah, you're accurate. You're accurate. If you even look at like social media videos, you would see
yes
they're judged between like 1 minute and 3 minute views. You know, it's,
yes
it's like,
yes
if you get two
yeah
3 minutes, you do good. You're great.
yes
5 minutes, wow. So
yes.
yeah,
That is another thing. That is what I've learned in how to make a post. I try to grab the person's attention with the first few words of the post. You see what I'm saying? For example, I did a post yesterday about the whole bowl and a church thing.
five
I'm
hundred
gonna call it
dollars.
$500, right? If you notice how I did the post, right? The caption for the post.
Yeah,
The first thing I put there, $500, right? What that does is to grab people's attention
Attention grabber.
right there. You know what I'm saying? You see, you put, if you look at the post, if you look at it right now, you would see the first thing I put is $500, right? So right away, people go on, oh, $500. What is about? You know, and then you just make a nice short caption that that get right to the point.
I mean,
You know.
it's
So
sensationalism, eh? So
yeah,
that's
it's
that's
true.
what it is, and we know it's a thing. People
Yeah,
complain about it, but
but people love
it still catch you. You can't really
it's
do
almost
anything.
like
It's the
it's
poison you
almost like
can.
it's almost like negativity. People complain about negativity,
Yeah,
but yet still negativity that catch people.
yeah.
They complain about the same thing that they love.
They, lo-
That's
they
true.
they
That's
love
true.
to be a part of and
Yeah,
explore.
yeah, yes,
You're right.
yes.
You're right. You're right. You're right, bro.
So,
That's how the human mind think. It's almost like come back to even in politics. People would complain and say, "Oh, the campaign is too negative. You know, bringing out all these bad things. You're talking about bad things." But then again, that is what people still want to
that's
hear.
that's what I want.
When you try to talk about some nice, oh, your nice program and your policies that you want to put forth and how people don't want to hear them things.
Boring,
People don't vote for
boring,
anything there.
boring,
Don't
boring.
vote for them things.
Can't
You
remember what
know,
you said. Can't
they can't
remember what
remember.
you said at all.
You
No,
know, no.
no.
But if
Yeah,
you
no
say
conversation.
if you say this politician thieved $200,000 from the treasury, everybody
That
gonna
is thing.
remember that.
Gone.
Yeah, that is thing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But nobody gonna remember that. Oh, if the politician say, okay, boy, I help 1,000 people to get $200 every week, nobody care about that. You know?
Yeah.
You oh, I brought this investment of $1 million to sink his Nevis to give 4 people 20 people a jobs. Nobody really that not gonna work in a campaign. You might work with a few, but generally the people gonna stick to the one that stole the 200,000 or whatever it is from the treasury. It doesn't have to be true, but you just say it and people
That is true.
gravitate.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Then
You're right.
you sell. That's unfortunate. That is part of the human construct. That's how it is.
Yeah.
You know, is himself.
To the audience, I know I see some questions coming in. I'm queuing up questions as we go, so I'll definitely ask
Okay.
those questions later. But Obi, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go
We know
ahead.
where Obi came from. Afrocentric Everton, right?
Yes.
I don't know if Everton still exists, if Everton was sent to the pastures after Obi. But I just want to know if Everton, I already know Everton might be different to Obi, but is Obi and the BBB the same? Is the BBB more of a personality, persona for social media? Like if
Yes.
okay, go
Yes.
ahead. Yeah.
I the BBB is more my social media personality
Okay.
type. Um, OB is more of my general everyday living kind of person. Um, Everton is basically that's just my government name. That's the official government name. I've never changed it. You know, that's the one I use in the official government business. But OB is my, you know, the chill, socializing, talking, having a drink, call me OB or whatever. BBB, Facebook personality type, you know. So that's how I could say I have different personality type that help makes me. You know, the OB, as I say, the BBB, Everton, you know, 3 different personality types come together to make one. You
Got
know,
you.
and use them at different times, different venues, different areas, whatever the case may be. But it's interesting that how the BBB stock, you know, because as I told you, I was just using it just to let people know and give people the confidence that here I am one of the best, and I have every confidence that what I post is good, and you're going to be confident that what I post is good in that because it comes from me, the BBB. You see what
Got
I'm
you.
saying? So It's almost like a branding thing. It's almost like you really don't. I mean, maybe okay. I could use that example. It's almost like Apple.
Yeah.
Apple product. Whether the phone is foolishness or not,
Marketing.
people are going to love Apple because it's just Apple. You know, it's the iPhone. You know, because it has been branded to be one of the best or the best. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost like that. You brand yourself in such a way that people are people believe that what you're saying is probably true and you're one of the best at saying it. So
And of course, that's gonna come with opposition, right? You would see rappers like Lil Wayne would have
yes,
came out and said, "No, no, Curtis, we can get into politics a little later." You would see Lil Wayne come out and say, "I am the greatest rapper
yes,
alive," and people are gonna object, but it starts the conversation, and I think that is the important part that a lot of people don't realize when you're in the public as a public figure. You need to have the conversation regardless of what the direction of the conversation would look like,
yeah,
because
and
it's
that's why Jay-Z would say he's the best
yeah,
rapper. You know, LeBron James would say he's the greatest basketball player ever played the game. Michael Jordan would tell him, "No, I'm the greatest." But all that is part of branding yourself
yeah,
and 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 giving yourself that confidence also. So when you reach a certain level of whatever field you're in or whatever you're doing, you have to give yourself that kind of confidence, that because if you don't exude confidence, people are not going to believe you.
you're right,
I stop. I listen to you.
you're right.
You know.
And with that, I don't think we've ever said that Real Entertainment is the best network coming out of a sinking St. Nevis, and it is plain
You should say
straight, and we saying it now. You don't know, lively, lively.
lively. You
Yeah.
got, you got to build that, you have to build that confidence, man. And when you build that confidence, people love confident people.
Yeah.
You know, people
Yeah.
love confident people, uh, and and that's why people like I guess this is too old, but Muhammad Ali, he had that kind of confidence. Michael Jordan have that kind of confidence. You
Yeah.
know, they build it and they say, okay, I'm the best, and sometimes it would just sink right in that you're the
That's
best.
true.
Yeah.
And people start to believe that you're the best. Sometimes you're not even the best. But some people, because you build a company,
That's true.
you
Definitely.
know?
You kind of embed it. You kind of embed it in people's minds. I agree with
Yes.
Definitely.
you. Yeah, I
Yes.
agree with you. I agree with you.
So
Yes.
I don't know if Reese want to get in, but the people ready to get into politics, eh? So
Well,
can't get
Which
them
one?
to itchy and
Politics.
to antsy.
we take a drink. Take a drink of water there, for a drink of something.
I can
Yeah,
start with
just
the easiest question. The easiest question there is,
yeah, go
what is the
ahead.
problem between you and the premier?
Um, the problem, why that's multifaceted. It's not just one problem. But the premier has disappointed me in many ways. Uh, Back in when the premier started getting into politics, I helped the premier in many ways, help him get elected, campaign for him, for free, and did a lot of work to get him elected. Back in 2007 when he first came in, I think he ran to replace he ran in a by election to replace what's his name?
Get shot.
God, my late friend. And I helped him back then. 2010, he ran again in federal election. He won again, helping him. 2011, now local election, he ran, and I was responsible for the counting of the votes. Well, I shouldn't say I was counting the votes. I was the observer for CCM and Mark in 2011 election, local election, right? I remember communicating with him throughout the counts and telling him, boy, he's not looking good. not looking good, you think you're gonna lose, right? That's 2011 when um when he lost St. John's to Hensley Daniel. And I communicated to him because I saw the trend of how the votes were going. From because they started in Bath, right, and they were counting going back up to Cox. But for some reason, some unknown reason, before they finished counting the boxes in Cox, somebody went out there and said CCM won. So CCM was already celebrating, right? But he and I were talking all along, and I was telling him, no, that is not true. CCM didn't win, right? So he knew that. But afterwards, when the box was counting Cox and Hensley turned out to be the winner, then eggs were on everybody's face, right? And I say, and for some reason, somebody started a rumor saying, oh, Obi did something or helped to do something to cause him to lose, right? So I was like, okay, this can't be true. This could never be true, right? But what really disappointed me with him is that he never came and said, that is not a true story. As a matter of fact, he perpetuated the story, you know? And and then what's his name? Wheeler sang a song about the whole election, talking about how the box in Cox. There was a fox in the box in Cox. You know how Wheeler,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wheeler is, words and all kind of
I
stuff.
remember this song too.
You remember the song?
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. And then all of a sudden, everybody using that as a hit against me, saying, "Oh, I did something, and I caused Matt to lose, and all that kind of stuff." And I say, that could never be true. That is not true. Matt, no, it's not true. He knows, but yet still he perpetuated it. He let it continue. I mean, he himself talking about Captain. He even called me the big black fox and all kind of stuff, and hint at all kind of thing, right? So I'm like, so there had to be the break with that. I said, man, I can't deal with you if you're not gonna be, you're not gonna out there defend me when I'm working for you for free and so hard, So and plus afterwards, that does take on a life of its own, and it was always my fault. I always blame myself in that. At first, I never defended it.
Yeah.
I never said anything, and everybody started believing it, right? And that taught me a lesson that when people are saying bad things out there about you, something you have to stand up and defend yourself. Otherwise, people are going to believe. Like what we were talking about, people believe negative information. If somebody is not correcting them and saying, "Oh, that is not true," people is going to believe. And I think that's what happened. So that story just took legs, and it went on for years. I confronted the premier about it. He didn't have anything to say. In 2015, I confronted him in New York City about that same.
In person?
Yeah, in person, of course.
Oh,
yeah, it was a big confrontation up in New York City.
When you say big confrontation, no, what do you mean?
Obi, I would have been in the hotel ballroom by the bar.
Yes, you were there.
You know the story?
No about that. No about that. Take it easy.
Oh,
International. I'm an international man or not. International man of
yes,
mystery.
yes. That's the story. By the hotel bar in Marriott in I don't remember where it was. I think he over by the airport Marriott, over by the airport, over by LaGuardia airport. That hotel over there. Yeah, I confronted him. It was him, Alexis Jeff, a bunch of CCM people were there. People like Duck up there, and and a bunch of other people. So I confronted him about it. He was loud. He was, he was a big. I mean, I was angry.
Yeah.
I confronted him publicly about it, and he never said anything. Yeah, and
So
and
cell
what?
phone wasn't a thing them times.
Yeah,
Video
man, cell
camera.
phone was. Yeah, but people, people was dying.
I never see that video there. A video
um,
going to
yeah,
surface soon, man.
yeah, that was a big confrontation back then. That was 2015, though. Just before the federal election and unity came in and that kind of thing. So, um, I think that was, yeah, it was just before the federal election. It was January 2015, and the federal election was February 2015 when unity won. So, yeah, and over the years, he has never once apologized. He has never once retracted anything. So I just keep the same energy. If you want to stay on that track, I'll keep the same the same track. But plus two, not just that is just a personal thing between me and him.
Mm-hmm.
But plus, I find that he has not performed. His performance has been terrible.
Mm.
He talks a big game, but his game doesn't match up to his performance, and that is my problem with him.
Okay,
You
hold
know,
on. When you say he hasn't performed, where are some of the disappointments that you've seen? Get into that. Like, you're not going to just say he hasn't performed. There
yeah,
must be a reason why you say he
I'll get
hasn't
it.
performed.
Personally, I think Nevis has regressed in many areas. Nevis is now basically begging Sinkits for support, for monetary support, just to pay civil servants and those. They understand the argument that, okay, yes, CBI money is Nevis money too. I understand that. Okay. But Nevis also has a mandate to raise its own revenue and pay its own civil servants. Just as it was when Parry was premier, just as it was when Vance was premier, they did that. They paid their own civil. They will raise money. They had Nevis developing in this one way and moving along. And as a matter of fact, there was a time when Nevis was considered better off financially than Zingit. That was the early 2000s and stuff. There was a time when Nevis was a buzz of economic activity. And Nevis didn't have to depend on Sinkis for financial support, even though, as I say, the money also belongs to Nevis too. But I see that money as being surplus money. It shouldn't be something that you have to depend on to survive. That should be surplus money. It's almost like, for example, you have your parents and you're working and you have a job and you're getting your own money, but you get money from your parents to support you. You know what I mean? As a teenager, yeah, and you have your own money, but that should be surplus money for you to advance yourself and say, okay, I could use that money and go to school, or I could use that money and buy a car, or I could use that money and make yourself better off. Not you have to depend on your parents to get money to survive or to buy some food to eat or to pay your rent or something like that. And that is where I think he has fallen and he has failed. He has taken this backwards. And because he was the one who pushed the whole concept of unity. He always said the whole concept of unity and bringing Nevis under the federal construct even more has made Nevis into a very dependent island. It almost reached a state where Nevis was back in the early 70s, where you had to go to Sinkit for almost everything. You're almost getting to there, like you have to go to Sinkit to catch a plane to go anywhere, right? Nevis is now a place where you can't even have a direct flight to Nevis. Whereas in the early 2000s, you used to get flights from everywhere all over the Caribbean. I understand there have been issues with airlines and all kind of stuff, and some of the airlines have left and stuff, but you as a leader, you have to make a way where there is no way. You see what I'm saying? Look at small countries like Anguilla. Anguilla now have straight flights from Miami. How could Anguilla do it and Nevis can't do it? You see what I'm saying? Small countries, struggling countries like Dominica, right, have straight flight from Miami. If Dominica do it,
With that different though.
okay.
I think that is one of the problems that we have the conversation about that, but that is different. You want to say Anguilla and you want to say Dominica, but those are two standalone countries. For example, you look at Antigua and Barbuda. Barbuda don't have straight flights. Antigua have straight flights. Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago don't have straight flights. Trinidad got straight flights. So the smaller island are always being more dependent than the bigger island. That's just how it is.
I mean,
You can't go to the Grenadines without going to St. Vincent. It's just what it is.
Reese, the constitution doesn't look like ours. That's all I can say. Nevis, they don't have none. They don't have administration either.
Yes,
But they don't.
Nevis, you're right. Nevis has his own government.
Yeah,
Nevis has
they don't. They don't have
Yes.
that. So
Yes.
that's a
But
different. What I would point out is that the lack of rooms available. Because imagine I land in jets and jets and jets with nowhere to sleep the passengers. We're not gonna bring in a 300 seat with people, and then 2 a week. Where they're gonna sleep? Because most of the hotels are closed. We haven't had any new ones. In St. Kitts, you have the Marriott, you have Park Hyatt, you have that. So I don't think airlines would even come right now, even if we could have sort out some of the problems we have with the airport. Now, Obi, with all that, why is it that you think that Mark is still winning then, if he has been such a failure in your eyes?
I'm gonna tell you something about Mark, right? Which I respect. A lot of people might be surprised, but I respect his gift of gab. He could talk, right? And people in Nevis also see him as their hope, per se. People had a lot of confidence, they had a lot of belief that he would produce to his level of language, or the level at which he speaks. People believe that, okay, this guy talks a lot. This guy seems to portray a lot of confidence. Well, I believe that he's going to produce this. I myself had believed that initially, but I saw most of this is just mostly talk. Most of this is just nice language, that's nice talking, and he has the gift of God, and people gravitate towards people who could talk. I mean, he's just human. It's just human nature. It's almost like it's the same kind of. I don't want to compare him to Obama, but the same kind of effect. Obama could talk, people love you. You see, so he could talk, and plus he's very good at campaigning. He understands the Nevis psyche. He's very good at understanding how Nevis people think. That's why he used the whole idea of fair share. That mainly, I personally don't think Mark hear anything about any fair share. Right? I mean, he would be good if he get it, but I don't think, from his historical looking at history and how he behaved towards fair share, he doesn't look like he care about any fair share. He only used it because he knows Nevision. He would stir up emotions in Nevisions. From the whole idea of secession and wanting to be independent and all that kind of stuff. So, and the whole history of the combative history between St. Kitts and Nevis. So he know that if he used that, he could get Nevis people emotional to want to vote for him and vote for that, right? Which was clever. I give him credit for that, which is clever. I mean, because a political campaign is about winning, and you use whatever you can to win, right? I mean, the only thing that matters in politics is winning. If you don't win, you lost. I mean, there's no second place, there's no third place, there's only win. And so he used what he had to use to win. So, and that is what he has been using all along. He being able to understand the division psyche and be able to use that to win. It not necessarily mean people love him and voting for him, and because he is the best. Also,
Not only that, Toby. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I'll
go
make
ahead,
one
go ahead.
last.
Yeah.
Related point. Also, people in Nevis over the years have not seen an alternative to him. You would say, okay, boy, Martin's not performing how we think that he should perform. But then people will say, but who are you going to replace him with? You see what I'm saying? So over the years, there wasn't that person who you could say, okay, I could see this other person being premier instead of him. So now I think there's an interesting phenomenon right now. I think more and more people are now seeing, okay, and happy with Janet might be a different thing. I don't know if that's what happened during the last election because you notice there was a shift. I mean, it wasn't big enough to cause NRP to win, but you see there's a shift in the voters. You know, is it because people now viewing the candidates on the NRP side as a viable alternative to Mark and his candidates? Is left to be seen. But I think eventually people are realizing that the guy is just all talk. I mean, he's good at talking. He's almost like a pimp or a pastor. They could talk, they talk, but there's nothing substantial there when you peel back the leaves and you peel back the onions, the onion skin, and you're looking at the thing and say, boy, nothing really there. Because I mean, you could look at Nevis. Nevis is still a beautiful place. I mean, I'm not saying nothing is happening in Nevis, but there could be way more. There could be way more. You know, um, you talk to the common man, but they say, boy, not one, think slow. And that is the cry. Unless you have political connection, of course. You're comfortable. But for the regular man on the street, where it is the premier's job to create an economic atmosphere that people could be comfortable, I mean, and be able to apply their trade and be able to get a good return on whatever investment they make, so they could be able to have a better standard of living. People will tell you, boy, things not happen, things slow. I mean, everybody tell you that in Nevis. Everybody tell you that. So anyway, I'm hope I'm not too long with it.
No, but I think one of the other things about Mark is he's also a little bit more personable. I think people more relate to him. I think he makes himself available, so people feel like he's one of them. And I think that's
Yes.
one of the things that Mark actually has. He's more personal. He maybe a little bit more personable. But Obi, you talk about the economic stimulation. I have a plan, but they don't want me to do it. So Nevis and I will struggle. But I got a plan.
He
I
has
got
a
a plan,
plan.
and we could
He
make a
has a
lot
plan.
of money.
He has a plan.
I got a
Yeah.
plan, and it has been proven to work.
But talk to
Mexico got
them.
it, Santo Domingo
He
got
has a
it,
plan.
Jamaica now got it, and he walk in. But
Talk
they
to
believe in
them.
me.
Well, you see, maybe you need. You know what you need? You probably need a white man as a front.
And the airport gonna be buzzing to a lot of private jets gonna come in. But they got to trust me.
Tell
Oh, we
you,
gonna reach there, But
use a, I tell you, use a white man as a front.
So
They're gonna listen to white man.
what we don't know.
Mm,
Obi, I've
mm,
always seen you on social media,
mm,
and my view of you was
mm.
always Obi's a secessionist.
Yes, still
Yeah,
is.
I heard Obi said one time if the premier puts 113 up, he can support the
Mm.
premier. You
Of
did a
course,
post with that,
of course, I would.
right? You said
Yes,
that.
yes.
Now, with all that you said, because I want to ask you a different question, but I just want to
Yeah.
know, do you think
You said,
Nevis is ready for secession?
huh?
You think Nevis
You
is
asked?
ready for secession
Yes, of course. Um,
right now?
because yes,
Okay.
yes, it's all because the funny thing, going into independence does not mean you have to be in a certain state or economic state or anything like that. Right? If that was the yardstick to go into independence, right? Most of the Caribbean and African countries wouldn't be independent because most of them were dead broke and poor when they went into independence. Okay, back in the 60s and 70s and all kind of stuff. You can't use as an economic yardstick to say, oh, you have to have this amount of money, or you have to have this amount of income, or you have to have this. Otherwise, people would never be able to measure up to that. You
Who's the
know,
model? What
there's no
island is the
model.
model?
There's none.
There's
All
none,
you
right?
have, all you need is that you want to be independent, and you just go and be independent. It's just as simple as that. That is how Sinking Nevis became independent. The funny thing about it, I would even tell you this. In 1983, when Sinking Nevis went into independence, right? Sinking Nevis was dead broke. They didn't have anything. The only thing they had back then was cotton cane. Nevis didn't even have electricity. I mean, everybody, you didn't have availability of electricity all around the place. The road wasn't paved. I mean, I was there. The road wasn't paved. We didn't have cable TV. We didn't have nothing, right? But we went into independence anyway. As a matter of fact, Nevis right now, Nevis as it stands right now, is in a better economic position than Sinkit Nevis was in 1983 when they went into independence. You get what I'm trying to say,
Failure.
right?
But it's
Hold
a
on,
harder
hold on,
time
Obi.
too. It's a harder time. It's a harder time.
Yeah, but when
Inflation
St.
and all
Nevis
kind
went
of
in,
things.
So go ahead,
when
go ahead,
St.
Luis.
Nevis went into independence, right? They would at least have their own police force and the basic
Yes,
necessities at that time. At this point, Nevis doesn't have their own.
It has
Nevis
nothing.
really doesn't have the basic necessities to be an independent nation, an
How they
independent
gonna break
island.
it up?
How do you break up
yes,
the police force?
but you see, the reason it's almost like this. It's almost like this. It's like you live in your mother's home, right? And you go in, get in an apartment, and you're going out on life by yourself, and you're going out there to exist. A lot of times you don't even have the stuff. You don't have a car. You don't have the means to get around. Sometimes the only thing you might have is a job. But you go out there with confidence and you start building yourself. So it's like there's never a perfect scenario to go into independence. Now, if there's a referendum and St. Nevis break apart and Nevis go into independence, there are going to be discussions of how we're going to deal with how we're going to separate this police force, how we're going to separate revenue, how we're going to deal with the international waters around. All these different things going to come into play, right? So, and these things would not happen until after. You can't. These things can't happen before. You see what I'm saying? You're not going to have the police force deciding to who is going to be the police force for Nevis. I mean, of course, you could put forward a plan, you know, but it doesn't work like that. Going into independence, it's just a state of what you do. Otherwise, as I say, no country in the Caribbean could have meet the criteria that people are setting out for Nevis when they went into independence. You know, most of those countries didn't even have. I speak to you, Reese. Most of those countries didn't even have a viable police force. I mean, they had a little thing, but you build from scratch. You build from where you start. You build. I shouldn't say from scratch because we wouldn't be from scratch. But you build from where you are, and you build up your country. And independence, right, would force the politicians to work harder to make Nevis a better place. In that, because now they don't have to depend on Sinkits. They have to go out there and do stuff and find means to make Nevis a better place. And I believe it would only be better for Nevis. It will always be better for Nevis because every example that you look at, whichever country that has gone into independence, they have all improved. Even down to Haiti has gotten better. You know, so nobody stays stagnant. So the country itself is going to grow and expand, and then people are going to use their resources to help it grow, to help the country advance, to help the country move forward. And independence does that. I come back to the example. When you leave your mother's place and you go out on your own, and get an apartment and you get a new place and you help to build your own. You help to provide for yourself and build yourself up. The same thing with Nevis. If Nevis was to go into independence, I believe if Nevis had voted for independence in 1998, Nevis would have been head and shoulders above many other Caribbean islands easily, because we are we are a resourceful people and we are talented people. I mean, think about how small we are, but yet still we produce talent on the world stage. I mean, look at our cricket stars, right? Nevis is so small. Nevis shouldn't even have not even one cricketer, one international cricketer. But Nevis have like nearly almost 10. You see what I'm saying? When you look at per capita basis, Nevis has more cricketing stars or international cricketing stars than almost any country, you know, around the world. When you look at per capita, because of its size and its population, you know, that only proves to us that we have the talent, we have the resources, we could do it. And if we could do it with cricket, we could do it with development, we could do it with anything else, you know. So I always had the confidence that we could do it. But it's just that the politicians is who have always held us back, man. The politicians, I'm going to say something now. The relationship between Sinkit and Nevis is about money for the politicians. And
Wait,
unfortunately,
expound.
yes, I'm going to tell you how. The reason why there are coalitions between Sinkit and Nevis and their pursuit of coalition between Sinkit and Nevis is because of the double salary. If there wasn't any double salary, Nevis politician wouldn't have had zero interest in wanting to form a coalition with any Sinkit's party. That double salary there, because it's no money for their pocket and it's easy money, you know. So that is what drives them to want to form a coalition. It's about the money. Take away that incentive. Take away that incentive, Reese and Ira, and none of them would be interested. None of them would be interested if there wasn't that incentive of that double salary. Okay, they wouldn't care. They would be more fighting for Nevis than wanting to go to Sinkits. But there's an incentive for them to do it. You know, so. And remember, politician by nature is their nature. They have self-serving individuals, eh? And that's why they become politicians. Really, they're more about themselves. Although they say they are about the country, more about their self-interest
Okay.
more than the country. Their self-interest come first, and what I mean self-interest come first, winning, becoming minister or becoming prime minister. That is what it's about. More than anything, the country itself becomes second. It becomes part of the process of them wanting to themselves to be successful. And if they self to be successful, then they bring along the country. But take away that salary, you have no coalition.
Well, Obi, Sazam Hall just said when NRP joined with PAM in 1980, neither Sim nor Ivor got double salary.
That is true. That is true. Well, they had the option to take double salary. I think Sim decided not to take it. Sim and think decided not to take it. They took that decision. But you see what happened in the end? The whole thing just fell apart anyway. You know, Sim didn't in the end. Sim didn't have any interest to go down to Sinkits
Okay.
because there's no incentive.
So-
Why are you going to go Sinkits for?
So let me,
You know.
Obi, we just come out on an election, and Obi is a secessionist, but
Yes.
Obi had a horse in the race, the losing horse too. Obi,
Yes.
there is everything floating around social media. So I can just ask you, it's up to you. Were you paid to back the losing horse? Because I don't know a secessionist putting his support behind a Sinkits government.
Well, it's put it like this. Put it like this. Let me ask you this. We talk about our platform, right? And um, it's almost like me asking you, did Mark Brantley pay you to come onto his platform? I, you know, you have a platform. People want to use the platform. Well, you know how that go. I wouldn't say anymore. It's almost like
But Obi, I would give you an answer, you know. I would tell you no. I would tell you I have never been paid. I would say I've never been paid for anyone to come on this platform. That's how I would put it.
that's
You
how
see what
you
I'm
put
saying?
it. But but in time, I'm sure you're going to want people to pay you. I'm not saying that I get paid, or I'm not going to answer that question because I think that person it's a personal question,
It is
and
okay.
yeah, it's a personal question. I wouldn't say I get paid, but I'm just going to say that when you have a platform and people want to use your platform, you can decide what you want to do with your platform,
Okay.
Yeah,
right?
So let me
Because
ask
you
you the question different.
can't,
Okay, Richie
can't,
had something.
can't go to Freedom FM for free. They have to pay Juni,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
matter
yeah,
which one. Okay, all
yeah.
right.
that's true. I like how you navigate that.
Well, let me
But
ask you
if
that.
okay,
Yeah,
go ahead,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to know. Okay, did you feel honestly that Timothy Harris was best for St. Kitts and Nevis?
Uh, at that point, yes. In certain aspect, I think he had done a decent job, and I think he had deserved um, to be returned as prime minister. Okay, but at the same time, the circumstances were such that it wasn't going to work because of how the government fell apart. You know, um, he he was always an uphill struggle because of how the government fell apart. Because people now you have the voting public that just decided that no, they don't want none of them because of what they did and how they failed the people in terms of. It's almost I use that example of I hire you to build my house, right? And you decide you like I hire you and we used to build my house, and for some reason you you as the captain, you as Tim, and we says Sean, we fall out with you, and then we decide he can walk off the job with everybody, with all the workmen, right? I am not going to hire you and Reese back. You know what I mean? I'm going to go over there and get somebody else, another contractor, and that's what the people did. The people went over there and get get Dougie and Drew and Labor and those people to continue building the house.
You mean
So
Joe and Doggy?
well, Dougie and Drew.
No,
Well, Drew,
Joe and Doggy.
don't 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 pretend you don't know what's going.
Joe.
Don't pretend that
You
you
think you
don't
can
know
make
what's going
Labour
on.
supporters vexing me a lie?
Oh,
They're gonna be all right. They're gonna be all right. They always make sure they're gonna be fine. Yeah, I'm used to it. But yeah. So and I now looking back at it, there was a point in time there for a period of time. Um, I think people looked at Timothy Harris as having the, I don't say, there was a sympathy vote there for him at first, and people were on his side there for a little bit, but then the tide turned, right, with a barrage of labor using a negative campaign approach, which turned a lot of people. Um, but like when the election was called in when the election was called, oh no, when he
Dissolve the government in May.
dissolved the government. That's it. That's the point. If he had his people in place and could have also called the election at that time, I think he would have done a lot better at that point. But because he had to try to prop up his new candidates and make them more viable and get because he bring in brand new people, he run into a problem where the thing is strung out too long, and Labour was able to gather themselves and be able to put up a viable campaign, a very viable negative campaign, and they basically turn Tim into something that people didn't even want. You know what I mean? So he was in a rock and a hard place. He's always it was a difficult situation for him. Um, he was always an uphill climb. Um, but there was a window there. There was a window there. I saw it. There was a window there where he could have done better if he had called the election earlier and he had candidates. But I understand why he
Obi,
couldn't call. Mm,
I'll
right?
tell you something. I told somebody, instead of dissolving government, if Tim had called a snap election, he had a chance.
You know, had nobody.
Yeah, but who he would have run with?
You
That's the
know,
problem.
But
He didn't.
unfortunately, he didn't have nobody to run with him.
careful
But
with
I
your
have a
words, eh?
question for you. I
Careful
have
with
a
your words.
question for you, honestly though.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You really think Tim had a chance? Well, I'd gamble, right? I'd put a lot of money on some events and so. And if I
Mm.
wasn't saying it, I would go bet on this because I was 100% correct on the election. You really think Tim had a chance, Joe?
No, he had a chance. As I say, he had a chance earlier. I think as the election played out, as the campaign played out, right? I see the turn coming in July. I could even give you the point at which I saw it happen. In July, I think when he had that health match in July,
Mm.
I saw the turnout, and the turnout was significantly smaller and less enthusiastic than the turnout in June and May. I say, oh,
Trouble.
this is big trouble. This is big trouble. And then Labour was, I mean, they were hitting on all cylinders at that point. That's why I have a lot. If it's one person, a political strategist, I have a lot of respect for is the guy Charlie Chang.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of respect for that guy. He knows how to run a campaign, right? And especially at a negative campaign, and how to get the people out there to support and how to influence the voting populace to shift in his direction. He's very good at it, and I give him a lot of credit for that. I mean, I tell you, all those negative things. I
Oh,
mean, I'm not saying he did all that. But
yeah.
all those $2,000, $200,000 things you see come out and all kind of they say, oh, we get it paid this and you see this swarm of Labour people come on my page and hitting. I believe all that was Charlie's, man. All that was Charlie's doing. And I give him a lot of credit. He's good,
Yeah, he
you
good at
know?
what he
Okay.
So
does. He's been
all
in
the
there
Labour
for.
people are here. All-
Reese, I want to ask Chevron's question
Okay, go ahead.
because Chevron wants to know, and I thought it was funny.
Who's Chevron? Who's that? Chevron, last name.
Chevron Lewis. Well, her name
Oh,
is Chev Jeffers Lewis. But
oh, okay.
she wants to know. So everything you post after July was out of obligation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm working on a campaign, right?
Yeah.
Well, you want me to stop? Well, I mean, I'm working. I mean, you gotta understand. I'm campaigning still. I
Yeah,
mean,
you have to know you do.
you run in a marathon, right? I mean, and you in third or fourth place. You're not gonna stop. You're still gonna run, even though you can't even see the fella, if the one that is in front of you. You still got to run. So you got to finish the race. So what it was. But I did see the writing on the wall. I
Yeah.
mean, you could see it and you could feel it. You could have felt it in July. But secondly, Ira and Reese, the BBB had them going. In the early stages, I did have them going. I had them
No,
skating. The
you on fire at one point,
Yeah,
You
man.
on fire?
I know I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
No, you are like Steph Curry? Yeah,
They
man.
had to
Yeah,
adjust. They had to adjust. They had to adjust. They had to adjust. They might not
No,
want to admit
Obi,
it, but they had to adjust.
yeah, I know.
They had
there's
to
a,
They
adjust.
had
there's a question I
to
They
have
are
for
just
you.
good, Diana Obi.
Yeah, I give them
Boy.
credit.
They
That's
are
what I tell
just
you.
good. They are
They are
just
just
good. They are just
in
good.
this half of the
Oh,
game.
Yeah.
The second half of the game, they went to the back, they went to the board, and they made the adjustment. And they
Yeah.
called a couple of, and they did what they're supposed to do, right? And, but I know I had them in the early stages right up until June. I had them right there, you know. But They adjusted, and you know,
Over here's a question.
mm,
You think that Tim made a mistake by not giving in, where he could have had more time to put together what he wanted to do?
why? That's a good question. That's a very good question. As a matter of fact, there's some food for thought that yes, he probably could have given in to some of the demands, because in the end, I'll quote something that Denzel Douglas had told me one time when I did an interview with him. It's always better to be in government than out of government, even if even if it's not even if it's not working 100% and you're not getting 100% of what you want,
Yeah.
right? It's still better. And at the same token, he as the prime minister can't let people undermine him and make him into like a weak or what they call I forget the terminology they call they use up here when after the election and you have anyway.
Like a
But
puppet?
Puppet leader.
yeah, not even puppet, but like, you can't do anything after that. It's after the presidential election in June in November, and that person probably lose, and then they serve out the next 2 months until January. I forget the terminology. I'm sure somebody's
You
gonna.
just like a figurehead, really. You
Yeah,
just
yeah.
exist.
So
I
yeah,
get
so
it.
I guess he didn't want that to happen to him, right? So yes, he actually could take some blame for that. But my 90% of the blame, I blame Sean, of course. Sean and Mark.
Why? Why?
I
Why
blame
Sean?
them because he's the one who pulled the trigger. I mean, he's the one who actually pulled the trigger and bring down the government, right? So it's almost like, okay, for example, it's almost like you and I get into an argument, we get into a fight, and we argue and all kind of stuff, and we're going back and forth, and I refuse to give in to what your demands are, right? And you decided, my forget all of this. You don't want to give me anything. I'm gonna mash up the whole thing. I'm gonna just pull out the gun and shoot you,
Yeah.
right? I mean that's an extreme case. But you see, in the end, who's gonna end up in jail? It's still the person who does the shooting, right? Because he's the one who pulled the trigger. He's the one who actually made it happen. Even though I didn't want to give in, and I was being greedy, as some people
Yeah.
might think. I was the one. You know, what I mean, the person who pulled the trigger is the one being 95% of the blame. You know, because at the same token, Sean could have said, "Boy, the man don't want to give us nothing. Let's ride out this thing until
Write it
22."
out.
You know what I mean? And then in 2025, he would have gotten the same things that he probably wanted in 2022. He could have made those same arguments in 2025. So I don't even, I never understand why they did that. I asked a lot of people in PAM and a lot of PAM stalwarts. Why Sean made that? Why Sean did that? Because I do not see there was any benefit to PAM for them to do that. None whatsoever. And I was very shocked that the style was like former president, I mean Premier Simmons went along with some stuff like that. The big supporters of Pam, I mean I'm not gonna call their names here, but you know the money backers of Pam went along with that. I said, what? Why you are gonna do that? If you all do that, if you mash up the government, you're gonna lose the election. There's there's no two ways about that. You know, you're going to lose the election because nobody's gonna vote for you after you mash up the government. You get the most blame, and you see that's what the electorate did. Pam lost the most out of everybody.
Yeah.
Pam lost 3 seats, right? They had the most seats out of anybody, any political party. Before the House was dissolved, they had 4 seats. Nobody else had that many seats. CCM had 3, Labour had 2, and PLP had 2. Pam decided that they're going to mash up the government, right? Because they didn't get what they want with him. So they took the most disastrous route, thinking that people are going to vote for them. That don't make no kind of sense whatsoever. coming back to the example, I am not going to rehire you if you decide to walk off my job building my house. I'm not going to rehire you. Why? That don't make no kind of sense. You know? So that is the problem I see with that. But you know something? I want to make one last point. While we're on the topic,
Mm-hmm.
the most losingest person I see now. I mean, people might think that I might be off, but it's not Tim. Because Tim was already prime minister. It's not Sean. Well, you could say Sean either way, but I think the most losing person is Matt Brantley.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I mean I don't have any evidence to back it. You might try to sue me if I say it, but you know that goes along with the territory. I've been sued many times. Um, I believe he was behind the scheme to try to bring down the government in his quest to try to be prime minister, right? And he probably used Sean as a pawn to do it. I believe all of this was his idea, and Sean was just used as a pawn to do it. And in him doing that, it backfired on him because now he ends up on the opposition benches, right? And if you look at the political cycles of parties in St. Kitts Nevis, they usually last 2 terms or more, right? Which means he would be in opposition if Labour don't do anything crazy, because you never know. um, he would most likely be in opposition for at least 10 to 15 years, right? That would pass his political lifespan. In 10 years, he's gonna be about 65, right? And you know his famous statement, like "Go home, go sit down," when he feel like they're too old, right? He gonna be that age, and somebody's gonna be telling him to go home, go sit down, right? So he trying to be prime minister, trying to use that tactic to be prime minister, outsmart himself. No, he's in opposition, and he has no. I don't see any path for him to be prime minister. So he brought down the government to be prime minister, and then it backfired. Now, if he has waited for 2025, if he has waited for 2025, and unity has a chance, right? And unity has a chance in 2025. I think unity would have won the election again in 2025. You see what I'm saying? And then you could have had your battles to decide who going to be prime minister at that point, and he probably would have been able to make an argument to be prime minister at that point because he would have probably gotten his 3 seats.
For me,
You see what I'm?
I want to tell you something one me think there. First thing, the opposition bench gonna be on fire. 'Cause you got Sean, you got Tim, and you got Mark. So that don't be any unity in opposition. But the other thing, I think that Mark Bradley is most productive on the opposition bench.
You think
The
so?
man, the man has been great in opposition.
I
Listen,
don't
even
think.
when he was in government with unity, he still was the opposition because he bring it down, right? Still in opposition.
Yes.
So he bring down Douglas, he bring down Tim, the man good in opposition.
But I don't think that's what his ultimate goal is, though. To be in opposition. Nobody want to be in opposition. You know? Because you're in opposition, you are nothing. You basically has no power in our system of government. It's not like up here in the US, where even though you're in opposition, you still have a say in what happens in the government. Opposition home has no say. Nothing, except in some situations like maybe where you need a supermajority vote. You know, if there's no supermajority vote needed, you have no say. You know, so
Listen,
you know,
you want to tell me when I realized that Sean, Tim, and Kennedy Simmons was in problems when the man had the PAM convention.
yes,
And they talk, every time they say something that sound good, everybody cheer. When they talk about facial, they quarter and quiet. They say, I can't get a facial to sink, you know? Every time they talk about facial, everybody who cheer sit down. All the other shit sit down, but everything else, everybody stand up and jump, but talk about facial, hey, better sit down and
yeah,
cool out.
Cool out.
yes,
So, you know what I
yes.
mean?
Cool out.
But you see, and these are discussions that I've always have. At, I don't know. Maybe because I'm outside looking at it going on. Maybe I could say, oh, it's almost like hindsight and playing, as they call it, Monday morning quarterback or whatever they call that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You say, okay, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. But to me, that whole play with Sean bringing down the government, that was right there. That didn't need any analysis that that need any supernatural thinking or any exceptional thinking. If you bring down the government, you're going to lose the election. It's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. Nobody's going to vote for you if you bring down the election. I mean, bring down the government.
Yeah.
You know, and one thing I fail to talk about too, that I also have a very vibrant WhatsApp group called
Will be breaking
Obi's
news.
Breaking News, right? A place that we vibrant. It's a pity that sometimes more people can't be involved because it has a limit of 256 and it has been full since its inception in 2017. It has always been full. So people only get in when somebody drop out. But then but it is a place where a lot of discussion take place and a lot of ideas and thoughts and issues are talked about. So and there's a lot of, I'm not saying, intellectual people in there who talks about all kinds of issues. So a lot of a lot of my ideas for posting on Facebook a lot of times come from right in there, from having discussion and talking about different political issues. And the same thing with the whole Sink It Nevis thing and the whole issue with unity and how unity broke up came from in there. So I mean, the discussion around it came from India. But it's like, I just didn't get it. I just didn't get it why they thought that was a good idea. And from the minute they pulled that lever, it was always a failure for Pam, especially. It was always a failure. And you realize the voters hit everybody who was in the government, even down to Mark himself, lost votes, lost a lot of, right? Because remember, he used to brag that every election he win more votes, he win by a bigger margin. Not this time. His margin went down by a lot, right? For a person like him, Alexis just barely scraped through with 59 votes, right? Even in Gingerland, with the guy Isles, who was not even from Gingerland, he was able to make inroads in Gingerland. It shows that the people had totally rejected not totally rejected, but they have rejected the members of Unity. And it's because they tried to break up the government. It was always an uphill struggle. But Labour won big, right? And I'm going to say something that probably going to get the comrades upset. Did Labour win? Did Labour win? Did the voters decided to punish the opposition? You see what I'm saying? Well,
They still win.
because I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're asking, but they still win.
But did they
Yeah.
win because of Labour or did they win because of what Unity did? You see what I'm saying? It's a two different questions, So because I feel if Unity had stayed together and go into the 2025 election, Labour would have lost again.
You think so?
Most likely. Yeah. Labour probably would have lost.
Based
Because
on the
of the construct is, I mean, Mark and CCM probably would have done well in Nevis again. And let's say they get a 3 or even 2. All that Unity needed is to get 4 in tickets. You see what I'm saying? And it would have happened probably. But so it's almost like, and even though Labour win, it still wasn't an overwhelming majority because they only win 6 and the opposition have 5. But
yeah,
it's
but
still majority.
I mean, my question to you would be: did you feel like the campaign in 2020
20?
with the COVID effect and how Unity was able to cripple labor and social media, cripple labor in the air, cripple labor movement for convincing, like convincing, moving around, getting to the people. You don't feel like that had a great effect on Unity winning in 2020 as well?
Yes, of course. I mean, I wouldn't deny that. But in 2020, I think the people of the country also decided that Unity did a good job, especially when it comes to the peace program and those kind of stuff. And the results has shown from the feedback from the election and stuff that's what people voted on and those kind of things, those programs, you know. So yes, the
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 campaign was crippled. Labor's campaign was crippled.
yeah, of course, the
Yeah.
pandemic, that's the word
Yeah,
I was looking for.
the
The
pandemic.
pandemic was used to the advantage of Unity. They used it to cripple labor. Yes, you're right about that. That is so true. But also, Unity also had a lot of support. Okay? Because Mark won 3 seats in Nevis. Most likely, even if Labour had brought in the people, Sean would have won, Tim would have won, and maybe most likely between what's his name, somebody like Grant would have won. So it's still, even if they were able to bring in those people, the Unity would have still probably won it anyway. It would have been a similar thing in 2025 if they didn't break up the country. I mean, break up the government. You know. So anyway, all water.
I just want to know if you help PLP buy views. If that was just
My answer to you is no. I did not buy any views. No. I will answer that one. No.
you know help them.
No. I
Okay,
don't.
Bobby,
What
you
you
just made
saying?
a statement and you said that Labour won by a very small margin. But when you look at it, even though they only have 6 seats, because of the three-party construct now in St. Kitts instead of two, Labour actually won overwhelmingly in St. Kitts.
They did.
Yeah, they did, but remember, it's still a sinking Nevis country.
Yeah.
I mean, they did. It's still a Nevis
You
sinking
know?
Nevis country. But and even though they get a massive amount of votes, they got a lot of votes. They got like 14,000 votes or something like that. I mean, they get a lot of votes. In the end, elections are decided by the number of seats you win, not the number of votes. You see what I'm saying? So they only have 6 seats where the opposition have 5. You see what I'm saying? So Labour hands in a kind of way, Labour hands are still tied. There's a lot not they can't do a lot of big things. Like they can't have constitutional reform because most of that probably need
Super majority.
super majority, like a 66% support in the house. You know, and all those kind of things.
But
So
okay,
they can't do things.
but Obi, fair share. And Dr. Judy Prime Minister said he was gonna take that to the House, bring some legislation and fair share. You don't think CCM would lend support towards that? Because that would be a super majority. That would be 8. Well, 9.
I don't. No, he's not gonna support it. I
But
don't
it's
think he
fair
will.
share for Nevisions.
No. And you believe you're gonna bring anything about any fish here? They all love to just talk, man. All
You
like
believe
just
so?
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if he do it? What if he
But I
does
mean,
it?
it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
So Obi,
Go-
before you get into it, I want to ask you a question. So do you have a gripe with the Labour Party?
no,
Okay.
I don't. I mean, the cameras have a gripe with me because of the political and I could understand that. I mean, I could understand how they feel.
Yeah.
I was campaigning, of course. Um, so of course they don't have a gripe with me, but I don't have any issues with Labour as well as PLP.
Not
I
any
mean,
long-standing ones coming from
no,
CCM
no, all mean
days,
like from the
Nevis
secessionist days.
days, secessionist
Oh,
days. You
well,
know.
if you talk about historical issues in terms stuff that they have happened under Labour government, yes, I
Okay.
do have underlying issues which I believe Nevis should have gone into independence for a long time. I mean, a long time ago. But I mean, in terms of now and issues, no, I don't think so. But if you're talking secession, that's a different argument now. you know.
But we
So
spoke about secession.
yeah, we did speak about secession, but um, I am registered in Nevis. I'm a Nevisian voter.
Okay.
You know, so really and truly, I don't have any gripe with the political parties in Singles. I was working along with the PLP during the campaign. That's something different. You understand?
Yeah, you were
It's like
working.
Wait,
it,
wait. Wording is important.
You were working, yeah. We
There's a difference
understand.
between working and volunteering. We ain't saying nothing there and
we,
just telling our people what the man just say.
you cannot
Okay.
force the man to say anything
But
that
me
he
ain't telling
doesn't
the man
want
to
to
say
say.
nothing, no. But
well, I understand. I mean, I knew what I say anyways.
that's all. What are you talking
And
about?
I language, I understand the use
Yeah,
of language.
yeah.
So
And,
fully
and
understood
honestly,
what I
it happens. It happens.
yeah,
But
Strategists get paid.
yeah.
Influencers get paid. I'm not saying
everybody
that
get a
Obi
little
get
something, man.
paid, but if anybody want to start a show
But
on Real Entertainment Network, we're open.
You
Obi,
okay?
with all honesty as well, the
Open.
work that you did do through the election cycle, I feel you
Mm.
deserve to get paid. I got to give it to you. I feel you deserve to get paid. If them not pay them wrong because you work, you know what I mean. At
I
one point they thought you were a runaway slave. They won't talk, you know.
all
Obi,
right. So you let them know that I did my job then.
yeah, you did your
They
job.
just
You
say,
did your job.
you do your job,
You,
you do your job.
you even when you thought it was a losing race, you continue. Obligation.
Yeah,
My
to that.
my question is, it seems like
Mm.
it's being prolonged. Now the
No,
election gone, it seems like you're still taking little jabs after the Labour Party now and again. Bam bam. Is it that you
okay.
don't want to accept defeat?
No. Because it's that's just been the blogger part of me.
Okay.
No, we're taking a we're gonna I'm gonna okay, another thing too, which is similar to big lies, just healing of big lies. Big lies is someone, right? Maybe I might get in trouble for saying this, but big lies is someone who always question the status quo. Okay, he gonna always be that person to questions what is going on. So now labor is the status quo. Labor is the government. Labor is the one in power. So people are gonna question them. So anything that they do, I'm gonna ask questions. I've always been like that. I did the same thing with Unity. When Unity was in power, I ask questions. I say certain things. I make posts. Nobody go and question the opposition. I mean, the opposition has no power.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, why am I gonna bother them for? I
Okay.
mean, you question the one with the power. So
That's true.
if they do something, I say something, I'm gonna say, oh, okay, they did this, they said this, they what that kind of thing. They just the blogger part of me. If they do something good, I'll also praise them. Because if you notice, I did some positive labor posts too, and the labor cameras don't feel that way. I post all kind of positive labor posts recently. No, so you know, so that's just part of being a blogger in that you question whatever the government does. You know, I'm not one who's going to just go and sing praises of the government. Even if, interestingly, if Tim had won and PLP had won and they went into the government, I would have questioned them too.
It's your duty.
You might not believe so, but I would have. because campaigning and ending the campaign is different to when you governing now, right? Right? My campaigning job would have been over. I am now facing and looking at what the government doing, So yeah. So,
Okay.
but mm,
I like that. But let's shift gears a little. We stuck
mm,
in St. Kitts, but we have a local election due in Nevis
yes, yes.
within the year, within the next year, right? What are your
No,
thoughts?
he actually due by December 17th. I don't think he
No,
gonna
by
go for part.
March.
No,
He
no.
do by
Well,
March.
he due by March if he take the extension. But why would he want to do that?
Look
Yeah,
weak.
Now,
but
it's
I
like
don't think
Tim with
he'll
that.
do it.
It's like Tim with that extension. Yeah, I don't think. No, no, no. Don't believe him when when he put that out there that is Dubai match. The election gonna be called before December 9th, 17th. All right. If you go past there, he looks like he is in trouble then. Because the 3 months after that is just what you call it, an
I
extension.
figure it.
You see what I'm saying? It's like when you rent is due on the first and they give you an extra 5 days to pay. That 5 days you don't want to deal with the 5 days, right? You prefer to pay your rent on the first.
Yeah, yeah. But what are your thoughts going into the local election? I think we know all the candidates going into the local election. We have
Yes.
seen the results of the federal election where three
Mm.
candidates from each party that's going to be running in the local election ran against each other. What are your thoughts?
Um, the, I think there's an opening for NRP if they do it right. If they run a good campaign, and a good campaign mean they put the resources in the campaign, they have good strategy, they have the soldiers out there fighting the campaign, right? There is an opening. It could happen. Right? It's not going to be easy. As I say, it's an uphill battle for them too. But I think it's even a better chance than what PLP had. You think it? I think they have a decent chance, and I also think that people now see some people, more people. Okay, let me put it like this: more people beginning to feel like Janice could be a viable race placement for Mark as premier. I think people could live with that, right? What NLP has, I think, is to NLP should be out there campaigning, as far as I'm concerned. Because if you think about it, right, the election is due by December. We only have 3 months. What was it? February, not February. What I'm saying, September, October, November. We only have 3 months, really, right?
Mm.
Take the example back to Labour. Labour started their campaign. I think they launched their candidates. I think it was February. I think I think that's when they launched their candidate. February or March. I can't remember. One of those months, right? Labour, and then let's say it was March. I can't remember. I guess the cameras who won like probably would kind of correct it. So if you see a comment there, and they launched their candidates, and they went into campaign mode from then, and the election was called in August. So you had March, April, May, June, July, August. 5 months they campaign for. You see what I'm saying? NRP should have been out there campaigning right now, hitting the ground, campaigning. And that's why I say NRP has a chance, but they have to do what it takes to make the chance a reality. Right? They have to do it. And unfortunately, maybe I'm not seeing it yet, but I think they're kind of slow on the uptake right now. They should have been on the ground, hitting the ground. Because you're the opposition. The opposition should be out there campaigning non-stop. I mean, when I mean campaigning, having political meetings, being visible, being visible all over, letting people see you, reaching out. I know I think they probably doing house to house. I don't know, meeting people, talking to them and all that kind of different things. But I'm talking about a different aspect of the campaign, having having meetings and that kind of stuff. It just, I mean, that's the way I look at it. They probably might disagree with me, but if you want, as the opposition, want to overthrow a juggernaut like Mark, right? You have to be out there overworking him. You see what I'm saying, Ira? You have to be out there working harder than him, right? Otherwise, you can't overthrow him.
Mark, I work
And
hard
that,
too, you know.
huh?
He out there. He in them
Yeah,
streets.
yes.
He in
I
them
know
streets.
he's very good at campaigning. We
He
may
in
have
them
our
streets.
issues, but I respect his campaigning style. I respect what he does, what he need to do to win, right? And he's not going to sit back and let them easily beat him, right? But of course, for all kind of different reasons, because he don't want Obi to laugh after him too. So
Yeah, man.
so of course he's gonna make sure he try because I would laugh. But so so but end up you have to outwork him, right? You got to work harder than him and campaign harder than him, right? When he do, let's say he do 10 houses, you have to be doing 20. You see what I'm saying? Let's say he campaign from 8 to 4. You need to be campaigning from 4 to 8. You know what I mean? From 4 in the morning to 8 in the night. If you campaign from 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, you should be campaigning from 4 in the morning to 8 in the night because you got to outwork him. He's the one in power. He's in charge. You now have to come behind him and try to outwork him. And he is a hard worker when it comes to campaign. You know, does what it takes. So yes, to come back to the question now, I think they have an opportunity, they have a chance, it's a pathway. But I don't know if they're gonna be able to take it and run with it. Um Charleston, I think is in play, you know. Um
No, 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 no. Charleston is not in play. JD got Charleston. He's not in play. I don't
I
understand
would
why I had to talk stupidness. Charleston is not in play. JD got Charleston. Stupidness.
I
Don't
would
understand
I would
this.
okay, I wouldn't I'll just say it's in play. I'll let you take that position. I'll let you take that
Yeah,
position.
yeah.
I would just it is in play. Um um But Jay-Z has to do the work. Charleston has to do the work because Brand is not going to sit there and just let Jay-Z come and take the seat. People got to understand that. You can't just say it's in play and don't do the work. Right? As much as St. Thomas's has always been an NRP stronghold, that young lady who is going to be the CCM candidate over there, what's her name, Latoya, he's a very hard worker. He's a very hard worker. You could tell, right? She is out there doing the work. So Cleon can't just sit back and feel, oh, he's an NRPC, so I don't need to do the work to try to maintain it. Because politics is a tricky thing, right?
Very.
Look at how Tim almost lost his seat. Tim won in 2020 by 1,200 votes. He won
And
in
you change
2020.
and change.
If the campaign had gone on maybe another couple of weeks, he probably would have lost. You see what I'm saying? So you cannot take things for granted. That's the point I'm trying to make. You cannot take nothing for granted. You got to be out there working every day, all day until the election call. Because I feel like this is just my assumption and my prediction. I feel like the election is going to call somewhere in October or November, right? I don't think Mark is going to push the election after December because then you're looking weak. Because after December, you are now in the extension period, in the grace period, or whatever you call it. Like that 5 days when you can't pay your rent and you got to go up the scrimping and struggling. You know, that shows the landlord that you works and you got to go borrow money or something to pay your rent, right? Okay, are even irresponsible. It shows that you're irresponsible. You don't want. So I don't think he want that to be on his record when he's campaigning. Because NRP is going to say, "Oh, he's weak. He's afraid to call the election. Oh, he think he's going to lose," and people going to have to see him like, "Why you don't want to call the election when the election was due?" So the most likely the election going to happen before December 9th, December 17th. I think it was
Yeah,
December
but
17th. Go
he
ahead.
missed a great opportunity to call the election already. Yeah? If he
When?
had two
When is it?
opportunities, he had two opportunities to call the election and he didn't call it.
When?
And I called
Let
it
me
in,
think.
and actually called it early in 2020, right after Unity win, when he come with the 3 seats for the first time. And I called it. 5 more years.
That's a good.
Because
That's a good.
it's the
That's
same
a good.
voters, eh? Remember, no, nobody ain't come in. It's the same voters. Election one time.
Why you right for true? No, that's a good point. I didn't see it as that, but you now thinking about it, yeah, that was a good point. Yep, yep, yep. That was a good point.
And then
And then, yes,
the second time, he should have, when he had the motorcade, and when the Caribbean go right after this election, should have got it again.
No,
I don't agree with you
no.
with that one. I I'm, both of us on the same page.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
think
tell
so.
you no with that one. I don't tell you
No,
no.
I tell
No.
I mean,
The first one, yeah.
we tell me why you think you should have called election after after the 2022 election right there. What do you think? What
okay,
do you
check
think
it.
you should have?
Okay, check this out. Janice last seat, she lost by
Mm.
59 votes, yes. But she
Mm.
came out of St. Thomas's with about 120 lead, yeah. So she really lose
Yes,
by about 170 in St. James's.
that is true.
Alexis got a good shot. Pat lose by about
Yes.
400. Man
Mm.
got a good shot. Eric Quinn by about 400. Eric got a
Yes.
good shot. That's 3 seat. Good on the government. They back in.
The people then would have to
Another
go
5
back
years.
home though.
What?
Yeah,
Who
people
that
would
had to
have
go
go
back home?
home. Reese, you gotta tell me how much the ear influenced the election, eh?
You
Yeah.
got to tell me. You tell me the influence. You know how much the influence. I just talking about the numbers.
Because
Yeah.
what I saw was during CCM elections campaigning, they were empty. The
Yes.
campaign was in empty until the plane them land. When the plane land, I see energy.
Is that a part of elections? It's a
But
part of
that's
the
what I'm telling
elections,
you, the
right?
people that would have had to go back home, Reese. You
Yeah,
know,
but
no,
the same
nobody
way.
will tell the boss, oh, I got to go back to Nevis again right
Everybody
away.
same way NRP got to bring in people. Right? Everybody gonna struggle. It's gonna be another
Well,
local election. And the
and
guns.
NRP didn't bring in anybody. Well, they say they didn't bring in anybody for that
See,
election.
I would
So
not have either.
yeah, but it's um to be, as I say, there's an opening for NRP. I think there's an opening, but will they take it? I don't know. It all depends on them. It all depends on them how they campaign. They just have to go out there and campaign and take the election. I mean, they have to go and do it. You know, and it's not. They're not going to be lucky like Labour. Labour got. I mean, Labour. Drew has to be one of the most luckiest politicians in recent time. I
How?
mean, oh goodness, huh?
How? Yeah, a lot of licks before he get in power.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No, he all the luck and everything was
He
on
worked
his
for it.
side. Well,
He was on this
this
platform. Jew was all
the,
over.
what you want to tell you? Oh, you came here too?
Yeah, man, twice.
You was here twice.
Okay. See, there's a saying that luck is what happens prepare to it. I mean, there's a saying. Um, he he went and campaigned for and took leadership from Dougie at the right time, right? And then Pam and Sean and Tim to a lesser extent, because you could use the argument Tim could have made adjustments, but Unity gave the election to Labour. I mean, that's the easiest election you could have, the easiest way you could have gotten an election. That's why I say he got lucky. I mean, everything was right in his right in his path to win. But what I'm saying though, NRP is not going to get that kind of luck. You know what I mean? They will have to work hard in this election to win it. Okay, it's not gonna be no gimme election like how Unity gave the election to Labour. They're gonna have to go out there and work hard, and they should have been out there working hard already. To me, they're already behind. You know, they're already behind. So maybe they still have time to catch up. But I think they you wanna come? My son here watching me.
They,
But they they still have time, but I think they know how to work even harder than if they already started hitting the ground. But saying that, I maybe they have already started hitting the ground, eh? But I'm talking about the visible campaign, the
yeah.
visible in people seeing you out there. You're putting on your campaign meetings. They should have already launched their candidates. To me, right? Just me looking from outside.
They
Just like how Labour.
launched. They launched already.
No. For the local election, they
They
didn't
did.
launch any campaign.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they did. They did.
Yeah.
When?
That's what
Remember
they
Rohan
did.
and JD
They
and everybody
launched the
launched
local.
already.
Yeah.
Remember they were preparing for a local election. They weren't preparing for a federal election.
Did they
They did.
They
officially?
launched.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
officially launched for the local election.
yeah. They had big
No, they didn't.
Way
celebration and
back.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, I take that back then because I don't
Yeah.
remember that happening. But
Yeah,
anyway, I
man. They
take
had it.
they had it.
They
I
had a
thought it was
local
the last
election.
election.
No, local.
Okay, all
No,
right.
they
I take that back.
launched full fledged,
I, I
as
take that back. I take that back.
Adele said. They
Okay,
launched for the local
okay,
election.
okay.
So
So
they
so
just
what
use the local election candidates for the federal.
the federal. So what I think they should be out there visible though, because Labour had a 5 month campaign. I mean, Labour was out there campaigning for 5 months. You know, so that is how I would have done it. Probably they see it different. I'm not no Charlie Tong, so I
Yeah.
probably could be wrong for why I would strategize it. But all I know, they're gonna have to work hard to beat Marvin. It's not gonna be no easy thing, and you can't because in St. James alone, as Reese correctly pointed out, just has to make up 170 something votes. If you're using the federal election, the recent federal election as a yardstick, which but you have to make up 170 something votes. That's a lot of votes to make up.
Well, that's what I thought they were doing. I thought they were using that as a yardstick to see
Yeah,
where they stand and what they need to
yeah,
do. Because they would have an idea about areas and boxes, right? Where they're weak. So,
yes, yes. But you could tell from the federal election, she has made inroads, right? I think she won a boxing castle. I might be wrong,
She
but
won one box.
she
She
won
won
one
one
box,
box. Yeah.
right? But she came close in one of those boxes in castle, I think.
She did have a
Um,
box and she was close as well. That's true.
Yes. So, but that shows that there's some kind of inroads they're making. So you have 3 months. What I'm saying, that is why I feel like as if they should have been a visible campaigning already, because you have 3 months. Let's say 2 months. It could be 2 months. Come back, could call the election tomorrow or next week.
yeah. And
You
then,
see what I mean? He could call it anytime. So
yeah.
that's why I felt like as if they needed to be out there already visibly campaigning, and just use this window as a 3 months window between now and December, and you should be hitting the ground, campaigning, going
True.
from village to village,
True.
because it's not going to be an easy thing.
True.
It's not going to be an easy thing, but there's a path. You know, there's a
True.
path,
Okay.
and what you're going to say something?
No, I said okay. I understand what you're saying.
Yes, yes. So will it happen? He left to so we're gonna need to have the money to match the EA the EA war of bringing in the voters. That's still, I mean, CCM
Air
has
supremacy.
yeah, CCM
Important in
has
war.
yeah. See, CCM has traditionally been better at doing it. than NRP, at least for the last election cycles. So they have to catch up. You see what I'm saying? They have to play catch up because system has mastered the game in terms of Nevis when it comes to the EA bringing in the people by EA. Right? No, they have to catch up. So that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be a serious uphill battle. Okay.
All right.
It's,
It's
everyone take
9:50.
somebody. You want to end off with some of these questions that we had from
Yeah.
the
Go
comments?
ahead.
Let me
Go
see
ahead
if I
with the
can.
question.
Let me see if I can find some. I had some
Oh,
queued.
one question somebody sent me to ask you: is there any association between you and SKN Times?
No.
Okay,
No.
that's it.
For a very
Simple
long
answer.
time, your posts had look a lot like theirs, though, OB.
Well, I can tell you something. Me and another person I respect in the game, is Wallace Wilkin. Wallace, I mean, of course, a lot of people gonna hate on him and people gonna say all kind of stuff, but the guy has done a remarkable job to have two sites out there, SKN Times and the Caribbean something Times or
Caribbean
whatever.
Times.
Caribbean Times. And then look at the massive following these pages has. One has 80,000, one has something, and regardless of how cameras and people feel and they bash it and all kind of thing, a lot of people still depend on it for information.
Yeah.
A lot of people use it. And I'm sure you have seen it in your inbox, shared news from there.
Yeah.
So so a lot of times we would tend to, because that's the way social media works. Two people in a particular space would probably have the same kind of stories sometimes, right? And we share stories. The same thing like if you look at Bala Alert and Shade Room, they have very similar stories.
I'm talking
Very
about the
similar.
write up. The write
Or
up
the write
was,
up?
yeah, the write up was like, oh, man, you look like one person to write these.
Well, no, but remember, I am always the original. I'll just leave that as it.
Let's find that.
I'm always the original.
Is it?
Nah,
Let's
But
find
I
that.
mean, I don't mind the write up people. I am never one to say if somebody take something from my page and repost it or copy it. I never have an issue with that
Okay.
because that's how social media. That's how social media works. I understand you when you said in terms
Credit.
of videos and offering credit, and I could understand. I and most of the time I try to offer credit, or I
Yes.
put it in such a way that I would put it in the post. I would say, like when I post, you guys, I think I'd reach out to you and tell you that thanks for what you had said. When I finally, I didn't realize it was the election coverage.
Yeah.
When I
The
when you
best too.
when you
The best one was the
the
best
best. Yeah,
coverage.
yeah, yeah. The best.
The best
The best. The
coverage.
best. The
that's what I'm
best.
talking about.
It's the
Branding
best
yourself.
coverage. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Branding
best. The
yourself.
best.
About branding.
No, OB is the best coverage. That's
The
it.
best service was
Yeah.
okay.
Ask anybody who
Because
watch.
thing was on the my boy Mod. I don't know if you Mod no Mod. Mod was watching you guys, and I was like, Mod,
Modessa?
is it Mod Asa,
Hanley?
yeah,
Modessa Hanley?
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was saying, yeah, man, are you on there with Ira and them fellas? I say, Ira and them fellas. Oh, I didn't know the man doing election coverage, And I think I had switched over to you guys at one point. But I was there listening to Von. You know how that go.
No,
Um,
you see that the problem with your OB. You want to listen to them old
old,
stupidness, traditional stupidness. You got to hear ding 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 before the election results come in. No, you got to come over here. We had a very interactive show. The court was a part of
yes,
the show. Denzel Douglas
yes,
joined the show. I got to tell you, big things went
He
on.
joined
Now.
the audience. He didn't join the show. The
But he
oh
joined,
audience.
yeah,
but
Yeah,
but
he
he
was
was
in the
part of it.
audience.
when
He was in the audience.
when Dougie come in, I feel good. I can't tell me nothing. No,
But you see,
can't tell me nothing.
the the you guys creating a path now, right? That is a modern pathway, a new thing. which is good, which is good. And sometimes we got to move away from the old traditional legacy term, like Van radios and the ZIZ and that kind of stuff. You know, I love what you guys are doing, and you guys should push yourself harder, man. Make yourself, as you say, you're the best, right?
Best, yeah. We train.
But
Train.
yeah,
But
but
everybody, we not trying nothing. We the best.
No,
you're the
no, no. I
best.
mean, we
We the
train to
best.
push
All
ourselves
right,
hard, and so on. You know what I mean?
I have a feeling. I, I give you guys a little boost tonight. I feel like as if I'm gonna bring my audience. So I think I give you guys a little boost tonight. The numbers looking good, Reese. I'm not
I,
seeing
The
you guys
numbers look no, the numbers looking good. But
I
with that
can't see
being
them.
said, to everybody that viewing this show that ain't like and follow the page, yet, I like and follow the page.
like on
I
follow
don't
the
just come
page.
and watch this show. Don't just come and watch this show, man. Like and follow the page, man. Support the thing.
Yeah, we like. I mean, we've
Any more
gotten some
questions?
good support, so you know, big up.
Any more questions?
No,
Well,
I,
one person wanted to know what advice do you have for other people who are trying to be bloggers, but I think you touched on that. You know what I mean?
yes.
I think you touched on that.
I could answer them real quick. Because they weren't here when we were talking about it. I think personally, two. I'm gonna point out three things which I believe: being able to communicate with people in such a way that you grab their attention, right? Two, you have to try to win people trust in that what you're telling them is true 98% or more of the time. As you say, you can't be 100% correct all the time. I mean, that's superhuman, right? Three, you have to try to add humor and have a variety of ways to say things and do things and that kind of things. Because if you have a one track direction, after a while people get bored.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? People get bored with what you're doing. God, they don't come to expect. If okay, for example, if you are just posting jokes or just posting memes or whatever, right? After a while, people gonna like lose interest, you know. But if you're a comedian and you want to continue gain attention, you got to try to do different types of jokes, different from different angles. Maybe use a video, maybe use audio, maybe use different things. You see what I'm saying? To try to vary what you're doing to keep people interested, to keep people coming back. That's why I would post, and I wouldn't just post news every day. I would post some humor. I would post something funny. I would post just some regular thing like, you know, post like, for example, like a good looking celebrity and say something funny. Just to keep because you have a wide array of people that you're trying to cater to.
You're
And
right.
people have different interests, right? And always try to get to the point. No, never go no long thing, boy. Especially in social media, you got to get straight to the point, right? We want to say what you're trying to push forward, you know, and you're gonna get it done. You're gonna get it done, you know, and you got to be consistent too. I forget that part. You have to be consistent. You
Consistency
have,
is key.
yes, you have to have content for people to always want to come out with you. Content matters. Content is king, as they just say, right? You have to always be the consistent, coming at you, coming at you every day, all day, every day. You know, and then you will be successful.
Obi,
hey,
It,
afraid to
mm,
ask you the next question
God,
because it's not a simple question. It's a simple question, but the answer is going to go long. So you might just want to say yeah or no. But someone had asked back when you were talking about going against the grain if that's why you supported Trump.
yes, I would answer that. I mean, I could talk about Trump anytime. I don't have
I
a
know.
problem with that. Trump went against the grain. Maybe that's why I support him and I like him. He goes against what I always talk about. He goes against the status quo. He goes against the grain. He think a different way to this to what people are we are being conditioned to think. You see, he has a different approach to things. You know, so it's like, um, for example, let me use this thing that he did, and which I think is a good approach too. The Democrats always tell the black people, "Oh, there's racism everywhere. You you can't do nothing in life because people against you and you're racist and they're racist and you can't progress and all kind of stuff, right?" Trump now come and say, well, if you become economically viable and you go there and you gain access to funds and wealth and all kind of stuff, then racism will become less of a problem. Which I am not saying that racism is not out there. Of course, there's racism. But I am saying that you could, it's time to take a different approach to it. You know, money and wealth always is a good um, counteract to racism. You realize rich people, not, I mean, not too many people racist towards Michael Jordan, right?
I don't
Because he's
know
Arab.
because Jay Z sang OJ story,
Mhm.
rich,
No,
poor, still.
I didn't, huh?
He sang the OJ story.
Tell me about it. I
You don't
don't
know the
really,
song OJ
which one?
story by Jay Z.
Why am I crazy about another one? we don't, we don't
You
know
have
another
to look
one.
it up, man.
Okay, give me
The
the
OJ
gist of
story.
it. Give me
It's
the
just
gist.
saying rich black man with the famous N word, poor black
Mhm.
man still N word.
still a black man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is true to an extent. But
Kanye
do you
West
think
said, even if you're thing, you're still in the coop.
what? Well,
Yeah,
listen to
well,
it. But do you think do you think Kanye West and Jay Z would face the same kind of tribulation as, let's say, a regular person like me would face?
Not after they're able to, not after you're able to find out who they are, because Oprah would have faced racism walking into a store when she had to talk about when she walked
Mm.
into the store, and she could have like like showing her black card and stuff, but you would still face it because you're still that person. But
Yeah,
then,
but
like you said,
could now,
there's some
she could
respect
now buy this.
after.
She could now buy this store and change that.
Yeah, you're right. I
You
mean, I
see
get
what I'm
what you're
saying?
saying, and I agree with what you're saying. But I
What I'm
just
saying.
going against the grain, eh? I do that
Me,
too.
too. We both on the
Yeah.
same wavelength. Eh? No, oh, you have enough wealth to change your outcome. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if we remain in the same mindset with nothing changing, we're not making any progress. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying, why not have a different approach to what we are doing?
Yeah,
You know?
I agree.
Why not different approach? Ah, let's put it like this. Why not incorporate that approach as part of what we're doing? Even though we might still have this approach, we could add that as part of what we're doing. Kanye West talk about those kind of things. You know, Kanye West, I mean, you could talk about, you could watch Kanye West, and Kanye West had the same kind of mindset in that direction. You go out there, you try to gain wealth, and
Mm-hmm.
with that wealth, you could make, you could change outcomes. You know,
Well, he said
well,
he said people out here buying land, but they're telling you to buy foreign. America is
okay,
for sale. And people
yes.
out here buying all the land, but they're telling you to buy Jordans and foreign. I mean, they do
Yes.
say some things, you just got to know what you have to It's what attracts you, eh? Because
oh,
I don't
oh,
even
one
own a pair of
last
Jordan, eh? So,
one.
Uh,
Era,
uh,
don't talk about Johnson. So
I
it
know,
easy.
I'm sorry,
Anyway,
Reese.
One last question. Someone asks, is there any friendship or relationship that you have lost within the political arena that you would like to one day regain?
That's a good question.
Yes or no. You don't have to
No,
say
that's
who
a
it is.
yes. That long talk there is a yes, man. That long
Yeah,
talk there
Yeah,
is a yes.
the
But you
fact that
might
you have to
want
think
to
about it.
expose it now.
The
I,
fact
I
that
don't
you
even
have to think about it.
I don't even know how to answer that question, but that question is throw me for a loop. But um political guys, I'll tell you something. People get so politically, I mean, emotional and stuff, right? And say some kind of things that way outside the bounds, right?
I
And
agree.
lose them in the process. That lose friends and that kind of things there, and they lose association kind of things there, right? But there are some that I do not care for. Again, talking to them, and some people who are dead to me, because they went way outside the bounds. And some, of course, some I'm willing to say, okay, all right. It was a political time, we got emotional, we said certain things were said and all kind of things. We move on, right? I could understand that. But, so it's a mix. It's a mix for me. It's
So,
a
Definitely,
mix for me.
definitely.
so if the premier apologize for the Fox comment
Mm,
publicly,
mm.
would you?
That's a start.
Okay.
He would have, well, I know he would never do that. I know his personality type. He would never come up and apologize and that kind of thing. But that probably too far gone for me. Well, it's been years. It's 2011. This thing started.
That's over
So
a decade, man. That long gone.
so I don't think that
That long gone.
that that gonna happen. But it's a start, and I'm willing to work from there. But I don't see that happening. So you could probably forget.
Curtis Crook
uh-huh.
say he wants a one-on-one with you, right?
You
Curtis
wanna
Crook.
one?
Yeah.
Of course, this is my boy. I respect his I
You,
respect his.
you get some hard word right now down on OB. And I
Well, I know.
realize you lame staying. I say you got to be the good enough.
Yeah, because I respect his game. I
Yeah.
respect his game in terms of he. You need a soldier like that. You
Yeah.
need a
Yeah.
soldier.
Big up Curtis.
You have a political party. You need somebody to fight when nobody else fighting.
Fighting. Yeah. Big up
Curtis was
Curtis.
out there fighting at the height of unity, when unity was at the strongest. You see what I'm saying? He was out fighting. NRP
Fighting by
need those
himself,
guys.
too, eh?
Yes,
Fighting by himself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And Curtis don't realize I respect his game, eh? I mean, he could be a nine as hell, right? and but
But that is a
that is
part of it.
that is part of it.
That
That is
is a
what I'm
part.
saying.
Yeah. That is a part of it.
Of it, and you got to respect that, right? And that's where I say NRP and other parties need somebody like that, right? They need people out there to fight for you when nobody else fighting. Okay, that is when those people come in most important.
NRP doesn't have
In
that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, right? Oh, and I forget to make this point too. One of the things that NRP need to do, NRP need to follow. You see what Labour did to me in terms of Labour had a whole army
Oh yeah.
of supporters
Strength.
coming at me. Anytime I make a post about 50 people, right? I mean, like a
That's
swarm.
a different topic, boy.
Yeah, that's like a swarm. That is strategy. We just did talking political strategy. I mean, um, so, but little do they know that I enjoy that kind of fight. People don't even
That's good.
realize.
That's
I enjoy that. I like to be the one man out there fighting the whole army, but um, so, but that's what they need. They need soldiers on there. I mean, on Facebook, on social media, defending their position. Anytime anybody say anything about NRP, you come and defend in a swarm, right? And all those things attract people to the party. All those things, people say, wow. Boy, I like what they're doing. They look like they're fighting. They look like, they're going for it. They look like they want to win. And that is the kind. You can't be like, you can't want to win and fighting. Right? Like, I'm gonna say something now to a lot of the, because in my chat there's a lot of NRP supporters in there who comment in my chat, but they just stay in there. They don't come out and fight. People need to see them out here fighting. They have all kind of chat. They give me all kind of word inside my own chat, right? But they don't fight that aggressive battle out here in the public. Why? I don't know. Then maybe they're scared or something. You need to come out here and fight. That's where the battle really is. In my chat, it's very, very limited. It's only 256 people. Bro. Until they do that, nah, it's gonna be an uphill battle for them. But I think
We gone 3 hours now but I just want to know how your prediction here looking so far.
prediction for
You had
for
your
what?
prediction. You do your prediction at the beginning of the year. How you looking so far?
Oh, why you're not looking good in terms of this? We did not see that whole thing happening, man. I didn't
Yeah.
anticipate. But something. I can tell you all something. That wind since in February, that unity was going to mash up here. But I didn't take it serious. Somebody inside unity with the knowledge and everything told me that they're going to be a new election soon, right? Unity is going to fall. I said, nah, that don't make.
No, I thought I saw that coming.
Yeah,
I
I'm like, I didn't see it coming. I really didn't see it coming. I'm not talking about after Permanent come out and start to say that. I'm talking before that, right? I'm like, why would they do it? Because it didn't make, to me, in my mind, I'm a very logical thinker. It did not make logical sense to me for unity to mash up their own government and then go into an election. It does not make sense.
Well, that wasn't the idea. That wasn't the idea. The
I
idea
know
was they thought that they could get the AG to farm.
push him. And you mean the GG?
I mean the AG, the GG. Yeah, the GG to
Push
farm the
him.
government for them.
No,
Which
that
was
wasn't gonna.
absurd.
No, that was.
Crazy.
It's not gonna
but
happen.
but
That was wild.
but Obi, you credit Labour for starting the campaign early, right?
Yes.
Labour got the same news that you got,
Yeah, I know.
Labour got the
So
exact same news that you got. That is why they started campaigning, because they
That's
knew
it.
it was coming.
Yeah, they knew. So I guess they
Because
got the head.
technically they got the heads up, because technically they really had 3 more years before the election.
Yes.
If you go based on how it's supposed to go, but they got the heads up, so then it was coming. But Obi, I have one special ask of you, and I know that you are well connected, and you have a lot of friends in high places and people all around the place. We're trying to get Tim on this show. We trying to get Tim on this show for about a year now, and the man has not shown up. Obi, can you please tell Tim that we need him on this show?
Tim been on any social media since? You need to come.
No,
Or we just tell him what a pleasant experience you had here, because I know you enjoyed it.
Oh yeah. I knew I was going to enjoy it, man. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. But I don't know if he has right now to do that right now. Maybe the election loss is still probably raw. The wounds are still raw. So he probably some time to heal.
He's not accustomed to losing. It's a new experience for him.
That is very true.
Yeah, he's probably
Tim
the wounds are still raw.
politics.
And to tell the truth, but Labour run a very nasty next campaign against him. They basically turned the man into a criminal. They really did. They really ran a nasty campaign against him.
They did it to Dougie.
That's politics.
They did it to Dougie.
Politics.
That's how we go. That's the game.
That is true. He was
They
done
did it to
Dougie.
Dougie. Yeah, they did it to Dougie.
did it to Dougie.
Dougie gave us think it's land, eh? That's why I can remember. Land for death. So you got to remember.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be in jail too.
Yes.
Dubai and all kind of thing.
They really did, but This one, boy, I don't know. After a while, there is like, oh Lord, Tim. He's like you expected Tim to laptop the day after the army lose.
The same thing I thought about Dougie too. That's what I
No,
thought
I
about
no.
Dougie.
but not in my experience when it comes to politics. I knew all of that was propaganda, and I tried to
Yeah.
tell him all of that is just propaganda. But some people who
No.
don't understand how it goes would think that is real. It's not real. It's propaganda. It's just people just saying things to win an election, and they don't want to understand that. You know, and I try to educate them to tell them that none of all of these investigations and all of these things, and you're gonna find missing money there and all that. None of that. You know, yeah, no, it never happens. The one time they did was when back in 1995 when Labour came in, they did a commission of inquiry against Pam and things. You know, but I don't think I don't. You don't strike me as the type who want to go down that road to do
And
all that.
Happy tried it too.
NRP tried it and it backfired tremendously
It
against them, you
backfired.
know, because those things could backfire against you, eh? Because people gonna be saying you're using the government resources we
Yeah.
put you in to do about your investigate people. Because those things take a long time.
Yeah.
They take years. They take resources. Because you gotta go hire investigators. You gotta bring in commissions. A commission. You gotta farm a commission. You gotta pay these people. Gotta now work for free. And you know you got to use government resources and these things, and it take a. I don't see you doing that. And with only 6 seats, he definitely ain't going to waste time doing that.
We got
When he
bigger
could
things
use
to
his
do.
resources to do the people work, like fixing up the hospital, doing all the different things that he promised to do.
Better bring
You
in
know,
that universal health care. That's all I'm gonna say.
you think that's gonna happen? I don't. That will never happen
It's hard. It's a hard one.
because one of the reasons why is the population is way too small,
Yeah, it's a
and
hard one.
I think that's what they have been running into when they try to bring in companies to try to do it. I think from what I've been hearing is that the base, the support base to have some kind of universal insurance, because you have to bring a company to do it, um, it's not there. You don't have enough people. Uh, or if you bring it, the premium is going to be way too much, like
The
hundreds
Way
premium's
of.
gonna be
high.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, the premium is going to be way, way high to try
Through
to
the roof.
cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation. Now, I mean, the party's promises. It's an election gimmick. Of course, you promise anything you need to do to win, right? So, but implementing it, no. I remember watching Joe talking about Zoosh. You only got to Zoosh, God. And I laughing. I say, maybe in your fantasy,
It was
that
good. It
ain't
was
going.
good. It was good.
It was
That
good.
was good.
I gave
Whoosh. Yeah, it
us
was good. It
like
was good.
reality that happened, man.
A
And
government is not expected to deliver everything they promise,
yeah,
but
yes,
some
I
of the
understand.
hard hitting ones they're gonna have to deliver. Bastille.
And and the whole thing about the whole doing the healthcare, I mean, fixing up health and thing and making big difference. Health is very difficult. It's a bureaucracy. It's a bureaucracy. It's very difficult to change. Most of these things take years upon years to change, and it's very expensive and complicated. And plus, there's not a lot of thanks in it for politicians. Politicians don't get a lot of thanks from trying to work on health.
No, no,
You
no.
know, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, right? So it might
Yeah.
change, but I don't see it happening right now.
Well,
I mean, I know the comrades think otherwise. They think that Joe gonna just wave a magic wand and everything gonna change and everything gonna fix. He
I
just
don't think they believe that.
ask Curtis.
No, no, I don't believe Curtis believe that. You're not going to say that
Hey,
about. I've seen and say
you
give the
know that
government
you know said
time.
about government.
Give the government time. Give the government time. It's a new government. Obi,
Hmm.
3 hours. And you're done now. I
I,
told you, Talk to you, I tell
yeah.
you. I can't give you a time frame. You might get in the feeling that you wanna talk. Somebody want to ask one last question. I think I'm gonna make it the last question. I'm sorry for anybody else who have a question and we missed it. But
You could give me a 10 minutes round of short, quick questions.
If they come
And
in, if they come in,
Let
there's
me
been
let
a
me hit
lot
a
of
ra- let me
comments.
let me
Let me
hit a
hit
rapid fire with Obi, man. Let me hit a
Tyrant
rapid
rapid
fire.
fire.
question. Can you list three current stories that generated your rise to notary?
Notoriety.
Thank you.
Three, three current stories or
Well, I
stories in the past?
cut out the current.
Yeah,
Just say
three
three
stories.
stories.
Your three
Three
biggest
stories.
stories.
What were your three biggest hits? What you think put you
I remember. Okay, I
on the
can
map?
remember one story that I did about uh, Hurricane. I think it was Hurricane Irene when he had destroyed Tortola. I remember when I posted the video. I mean, to be fair, the video wasn't my video. But I got the video and I posted the video. The video got over 2 million views. Right, the video reached as far as Daily Mail. I got requests for interviews from Daily Mail, from Russian TV. Oh, maybe I shouldn't be saying that. The Democrat might think that I'm a Russian spy. But RTTV, which is Russian TV, got requests from CBS and those kind of things. So that was a big story when the hurricane had massacred and Tortola. Uh, Another one, I'm trying to remember them. Ooh, I I can't remember stories. Ooh, I can't think
Okay.
of any.
You tr-
But I'll tell you something. It's a cumulative effect. It's
yeah.
a lot of stories come together, and
Compound interest.
yes, over time, and you know, and you know something. After I leave this interview, I'm gonna remember some. It's always like that.
It's on the spot,
But
man.
yeah, it catch me on the spot there. I only could remember that one.
Well,
That
you
one was
can't
really
remember. You can't remember any of those, but he wants to know if there's any stories you regret. I don't know. Any regrets about any stories?
yes. Um, yes, that's why I changed some of my strategy in terms of when I first used to start bringing out stories. I used to call names and and um and put up pictures when people get shot and stuff. And I remember one particular story I did. The family reached out to me and they tell me how they felt and how they felt bad and all kind of stuff. And I really felt it. I really felt it for them because they learn about the family member getting killed on my page, and then they saw the picture. Right? I think it was even a picture of the person being shot on the ground.
Oh Lord.
Oh,
I think they were or something like that. So I changed my strategy after that. I said, no, I'm not going to call people names. I'm not going to um, put up pictures. And then is where I say a young man was shot in whatever Rollins or whatever. I don't want to call Rollins people name, whatever, wherever in Nevis, right? And say because in the end, what I realize, people are gonna find out who it is anyway. you know,
that is true.
yeah, people want to find out
That
who
is
it
true.
is anyway. So, and and that way, I do not put people in a spot and calling people names. That kind of thing. So, any more questions? I mean, give me some rapid fire and then ten
Well,
minutes.
Curtis wants to be on a show with you, so you only he,
Curtis Cook,
yeah, you only handle that.
Remy, on this show.
I don't know if it's this show because if that happened, we're gonna be here until midnight.
Yeah, Obi, you got to understand, Curtis is a big supporter of the show, yeah?
Yeah, we have to
Curtis
give
has been here
Curtis
multiple
props.
times. Sometimes you
Oh,
call
Curtis.
Curtis 5 o'clock and
Yeah,
yeah, man.
yeah,
Sometimes you call Curtis 5 o'clock, say Curtis jump on the show tonight 7 o'clock. Curtis say, yeah, I got you.
yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah,
I didn't
man,
know Curtis is a big supporter of the show. Oh,
yeah,
that's good,
man.
man.
Yeah, man,
Curtis
yeah,
is
man.
good
Yeah, man,
people.
Curtis is a big supporter.
I respect Curtis' game, and Curtis is a. I mean, because it may be probably gonna be shocked. I said it. I think he's a nice guy, man. I think he's a cool. I met him in real life,
Of
and
course.
I thought he's a cool guy. And
Yeah,
and I hope his son. Um,
He will. He will.
yeah, I think
Yeah, he will.
his son seem to have the talent, and I hope he work hard with him,
He
and
will.
I hope he succeed. You know,
No, he
and
will.
I
He
think
will.
yeah, yeah. I hope he work hard with his son, and you know, because he's a cool guy.
And
You know, so
we know how you feel about your kids. Obi, we see it
yes,
in your posts and stuff. So I could
yes,
understand.
yes. So I
Yeah.
respect any man
Yeah.
who have that same energy for their kids. You know what I mean? I see it in
yeah,
Curtis. People wouldn't realize that when his son does something, I succeeded. Curtis send me a message. He
oh,
even message
you don't get a
me.
message them too.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, you don't get them too. You get
I
them.
want to get them. I get them too.
No,
I happy when I
but
get
no
them.
matter how much Curtis cussing me, Curtis will cuss me 1 minute and then send me, boy, what is your name? I forget what is your name.
Crudel,
And he would say,
Crudel.
Kudel. We said, Kudel, could I take two kids the other day, man? I said, my yeah, good, that's good. I mean, because, we understand when you see a father working hard with his children, you got to respect that,
Yeah.
you know?
Definitely.
Curtis has to keep your PLP side at bay. So he's going. So anything political at bay.
Yeah, right.
I understand that. Yeah, I understand.
Any other question? We could go to 10:30.
Um, Let me see.
You go to 10:30.
You see any more reads? I would have to go back.
You had
I
some,
don't think.
yeah,
Well, there's one question that somebody asks.
I had some queued up.
Do you regret supporting Trump after January 6th?
Oh,
no,
no.
not
Okay.
really.
The man said no.
Okay,
No,
like
I,
that.
I think um, each side have I mean, I don't like Trump now. Each side have their own, you know,
No narrative
faults,
of what happened.
skills, and supporters do crazy stuff. I see that as supporters doing crazy stuff. Because there were riots on the Democrat sides too. So
Gotcha.
that's part of the whole political thing.
All right.
So
Obi, they asked you to plug the Nevis DC event coming up in
oh yeah,
September. So
yeah.
plug all the thing there.
How could I forget that? Everyone, we are having our what is it, 19th? Derek, what it is? Like I remember. 17th anniversary, not anniversary, but our 17th annual awards banquet on September 24th. September 24th coming up. And this one we're gonna be honoring two young talented people. One Shalicia and what's the name of the other guy? Jolani. Sorry. I had to ask for the
Okay.
Jolani Nevis. We're gonna be honoring because this year we're focusing on sports. I mean on youth. So we're gonna be honoring young people this year. And it is one of the best event outside of Nevis. Okay, so a lot of people come there, a lot of people always look forward to it. It's always good. And we also have like a follow-up event after that on the following day. So it's like a whole weekend in Washington DC when you come here to our event. So
All
everybody,
right. So,
you could go on to nevdc.org and buy tickets, purchase tickets for the event. We have early bird special of $110, which includes the event plus the after event um, for the ticket prices. So it's well worth it. Everybody who have been here always love it and enjoy it. So anybody new coming, make sure you all come out.
We should be in there. I know you're
Obi,
there.
no, I haven't been there, but listen to this now. Obi,
Mm,
next year,
mm.
you'll be having this annual event again. Next
Yes.
year, Real Entertainment Network will be making 3 years. And I think we, as being the best
Next year.
Need a nomination from you.
Me
Put
no
it
know me.
forward. Let it fail, but put it forward. Tell them I
Put
want
it
to
out.
nominate this youngster. Even if it fail, I go say Obi try.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Even if it fail, say by
Even
Obi
if
try.
you
You
put it
can't blame
forward,
Obi. Yeah,
I
put it
will
forward.
definitely. I will definitely remember that.
You
But
know, and
but you guys located in the US right now?
Yeah,
I
we
think
in Florida.
Florida.
what are you in Florida?
Yeah.
Well, I could. Well, I was thinking that maybe one of these days you all could come through and do a thing with us. I don't know how feasible it is, but um, we could probably talk offline
Yeah,
and
Yeah, let's do that.
yeah, we could do that.
if it's feasible for you to all do a live from right there. You know,
Yeah,
no,
definitely,
it
definitely.
could work. You
I mean,
know,
this is
so
only one of the shows we have. You know, we're building a network. There's a reason we call it a network. The other show
network.
actually really wanted to get you on there, but me and if you're ready for them,
What's that?
me and if you're ready for
But
the topics,
man, I wait for anything. You ever see
oh,
me back anything?
well, we the one different.
I do not back down from nothing. I do not
I
back down
like that.
from nothing. That's what
I
I'll
like
tell you. Any I'm always up for any debate about anything.
I
When
like that,
Right?
man. Obi. I like that.
when they heard Obi was coming on the network, they were excited. They thought it was the topics. Had to slow them and tell them. So unfortunately, it's real talk. Get in
Yeah,
there.
man. Hey, but
I
Obi,
I ready for anything. I could come on and
Obi,
you all for these days. Go ahead, Reese.
Okay.
you have been a great guest, but I want you to not forget. Next time you have a conversation with your conglomerate, say, hey, these guys been on the network, they're doing good things, they had the greatest election coverage ever.
Twice.
Because even CNN copy me, you know. Telling you, they
Twice.
copy, you know. So you know what I mean,
We had it
there's a
twice.
reason.
And we're
So
gonna have the best
two
one
times.
Oh,
local.
you all did 2022?
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
2020.
That's where you got the clip from. We did it 20 and the 22 was this year. And we've made strides too. We've done things. Van Ansden was on the show. He talked about never getting an award.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, that was that was. I remember that one. I remember that
He get an
one.
award. You
I
know,
remember
we've
that was kind of viral too. Actually,
we did some
that was
things.
viral. That's one of you
Yeah,
guys' viral moments.
Yeah, we did some
yeah,
things, man.
we were able
We
to get some things done.
we had a
I
couple
don't
more things.
think it's gonna become viral from our discussion tonight, but that was one of your viral moments.
No, this wasn't that type. You will get that on the topics. So if you want to venture in those rough waters, I would encourage it. I would encourage it, but
Yes, man. Yes,
Okay.
man.
it would, it's a different environment.
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
But
But
we do appreciate you stopping by, Obi. Great conversation. You know, I enjoyed it thoroughly. 3 hours and change.
Yes. Yes.
And
It
I'm
was.
sure you feel like you could go more. That is the
Yes.
usual. But we all know we have to work tomorrow.
Yes.
You know. So
I'll be back, man. I'll be
you know.
back. If you guys have, I'll be back one of these days.
I'm
You
gonna
know.
tell you. Huh?
Interestingly, you know I don't normally do talk shows. I really don't. Have you ever seen me on any? Except
No.
I was
EK
on
show. You're on EK show.
an EK. Juni has been.
Issues.
Yeah, Juni asked me for about 5 years before I came on. I normally don't do talk shows. I
Yeah,
don't know
we
why,
we appreciate you
but
stopping by. Well, I mean, I don't know why either. Because this is a
but
good
I
vibe.
didn't get you guys say. I always remember you guys that say, okay. I thought now was the best time for me to.
Okay.
Because you see, I reached out to you. I
You
was the
did.
one who reached out.
You
And I
did. You
tell you,
did. You
okay,
did. You did. You
I'll,
did.
I'll,
You
I'll
did.
you
You did.
So,
I'm gonna say it too. You still the BBB. You know.
oh yeah,
People thought I
we got
made a shot when I said self-proclaim. I said it because I know you were the one that came up with the BBB. I know that was you. You know what I mean?
I.
But it wasn't a shot. But you're still in charge of the
Well,
blogging
we know that.
in
We know
SKI.
that. I mean, that goes without saying. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that goes without saying.
People
I
gonna be
mean, there's no
upset.
one. There was no one like the BBB, man.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
no, I mean, there may be imitators. People try to think they're the BBB, but no, there's only one.
Yeah,
There's a,
I look at the
I like
numbers.
that. I like that.
I look
I
at the
like that.
you
If the
look
numbers.
at it.
numbers don't lie,
I see
Okay.
that Bolan
I have,
video, eh?
oh, you see. You see.
That Bolan video speaks volume. But
Okay.
yeah, no, no,
not
Just
numbers
leave
disrespect
don't
it.
lie.
to
Numbers don't lie.
to to your competitors or anything. You know, we all in one space, so enough respect to all of them. And
Yeah.
Curtis would like Obi, we have different discussions, so maybe one time we're having a panel discussion. You could join us in something like that. This was more about you. That could be
Yes, I
more
know.
about the situation. And I'll let Reese take us out. And
Yeah, man.
actually,
Well, definitely. You go ahead,
let,
Aaron.
let Obi say his last bit, and then you could take us out.
Yeah. I I am glad for the opportunity to be here and talk to the people and talk to you guys. It's been a long time coming, and I finally got here, and it was well worth the wait. I would think. I enjoyed it. The 3 hours went by really fast. Actually, the 3 hours and like 20 minutes went by really fast. So that goes to show that it was a fulfilling, total, comprehensive conversation when the time goes by that fast, and it was enjoyable. So, thanks, guys, and hopefully, I was able to impart some knowledge onto people. I know there are some young people out there who want to get into the blogging space and be able to use it. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna give them a little hint. There's a lot of money in it. Just
Just a little hint. Just a little hint.
Just a small hint.
there's
You see the
a lot
Benz
of money
drop,
in
eh?
it.
Custom.
There's a lot of. So, the people who want to try it, want to do it, you could reach out to me. You could reach out to me and talk to me. I'm gonna say something right now that's gonna surprise a lot of people. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna say it right now, so people could see, and a lot of people who are know. Travidan, right? And I speak all the time.
I
I
would
give
believe
him
that.
pointers. I give him pointers behind the scenes. I tell him do this, do that, be careful about that, and all that kind of stuff. So I I am willing to help anybody who want to get into the space, who want to do it. Um,
Me no surprise.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I talk to anybody and
I
give
see that
give
you follow him and you're his friend. Even
yes,
through the controversy and stuff. I
yes.
said, oh, it's not personal, it's business.
It, it's business. I
It's
mean,
business.
no, a lot of people don't even know me and the young man
Yeah.
talk all the time behind the scenes and stuff. Yeah, because there's enough room for more than one person. There's room for more than one person, and nothing wrong with competition. Nothing wrong with people want to get into the space and want to make a name for themselves and want to do this and want to, if that's what you love to do, go ahead and do it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So I close off by saying thanks again for everybody, and thanks for all the people who tune in and ask questions. And I mean, log in. I'm using old legacy term, but tune in. But people who
Log on.
log on and stuff, and and stayed with us and participate in the discussion by asking questions. So thanks for everything. And the people of OBN, because they sent me a message telling me I must give them a plug to it. The OB's breaking news chat. I remember you guys, love you guys, and thanks for everything too. Thanks for keeping the chat going for 5 years.
Wow.
Full. I mean, you can't get no room in
It's
there.
not easy. It's not an easy
You
thing
know,
to do.
that's what I'm saying. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing, and you got to love it, way. You got to love what you do. So, anyway,
Well, Obi, thank you. Like you said, it's been a long time coming. I think it's been about 2 years we've been talking to you, trying to get you on the
yeah,
show. And you're
yeah,
finally here, you know what I mean? And they say nothing happened before your time. And I think was probably the best time. You know, you stay with us for 3 hours. You know, a 3 hour conversation is a long conversation, and the fact that we were able to maintain the viewers and maintain dialogue shows that it was a good conversation. You know what I mean? So I want to tell you thank you for accepting our invite. We may reach out to you again for the election coverage. We try to get you an election coverage.
Even for time.
You know,
Well, I
we
mean,
might ask you to come for an hour and talk and tell us what you think.
No
yeah,
problem,
yeah.
man.
That might be feasible, man. I mean, because
Yeah,
election gonna be 2 months, only 2 more months, 2, 3. I anticipate it's
yeah,
gonna be in 2 months. So,
yeah.
yeah,
November, man.
Yeah, you want to
yeah,
be a part of
November.
the greatest election
But
coverage
no, wait,
ever.
you realize it's only 2 months, right? Ira,
Yeah, yeah, it's right on the corner. On the corner, boy.
this
Yeah,
is
man, but thank you,
September,
man. And
September, October. Go ahead.
October, November, yeah, right down the corner. But to everybody who viewed the show tonight, who was here with us, we want to say thank you to all the viewers, all the supporters, to everybody who here, like and follow, give us a little strength. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, the
No,
topics
no,
will
no,
be
no.
live. Oh, you're right,
Stop,
you're right, you're
stop,
right, you're
stop,
right, you're right. I
stop.
forget. I forget.
Yeah.
I forget.
There will be no the
Not
topics
the topics
tomorrow
tomorrow.
night.
Yeah, yeah. Not the topics tomorrow.
Unfortunately. No the
Yeah, due to
topics.
Okay.
circumstances.
Yeah. But tune
Yes,
in
guys,
next
but
week. Tune in
tune
next
in next
week.
week, man.
Definitely we will be rolling. Rolling and rolling, you don't know.
Golden.
With the topics and real talk corner.
Yeah, man. Obi, bless up, eh?
Yeah, man. Salute to
All
you,
right,
Obi. Appreciate you,
all
man.
right, thanks, man. No
Yes,
problem,
I.
man. All
And
right,
we
bye.
out.